I don't know. It would literally. I'm like, give me a job. I would love this. Yeah, I really a picture on my wall. Please give me a job. And I like, I don't know this is. My nose. I'm just like, oh yeah, she went to Columbia. And I told her that your boyfriend went to Columbia. Well, boyfriend no longer, but I will lie and say yes. We're getting back together just like. Until, yeah, exactly. I feel like Ishan, we're getting back together just because it's interested in the corporation. I'd be like, oh yeah, I'm not break. I also don't want to give back any of it. I give back most of it, but there's like a tank top. Or it just
Gotta wait for the projection.
I don't want that.
Come on,
Because I have all of them and I don't. I'm just sitting in a pile in my room. I'm just close where it so I might just keep them.
On. Wait, I'm gonna ask him.
Yeah. Pay for shipping. No. Doing good.
Crash this. Oh. In the meantime, I hope everyone enjoyed lunch and had some time to network, talk to everyone. We really enjoy these parts of like TigerLaunch, just getting to know all the competitors and having everyone get to meet each other, the judges, etc. I think it's one of the best parts of TigerLaunch, just the community. So I hope everyone enjoyed and got enough food, but we're going to start round two. So round two, we have 6 teams presenting. One of our teams will be virtual, so we'll do a little prep for that. That'll be a Mutan X, the third team to present, but just an FYI. For this round, we will have Ethan moderating. He will be introducing each of the teams, so he's standing over there. And Alan will be timer right here in the front. So similar to the first round of pitches, Alan he'll do hand signals. He'll do 2 minutes left, 1 minute left, and then 30 seconds left. So you can reference that. And then same format as last time, 5 minutes of pitching, 4 minutes of Q&A. Judges ask questions in any order. All good stuff. But Sophia, if you wanted to add anything.
Yeah, let's just give it up for our round 2 teams. Let's get started.
All right, guys, welcome back to the first competitor of our second session. First up, we have a Rescript, which is increasing government accountability and transparency, starting with a completely AI-powered government meeting monitoring system.
Hi, everyone. We're Rescript, and we're building the first AI-powered government tracking platform. Let's get started.
Even before we talk about our product, we'd love to just introduce ourselves as a team. So we all study AI and policy at Stanford and Princeton, and we have work experience in this unique intersection across Congress, the DoD, and Salesforce, where we got firsthand exposure to some of the biggest problems at this intersection.
One of the biggest problems we found was that tracking the government was really hard for the private sector. We can get a sense of just how large this challenge is in the digital journalism market, where 8 out of 10 stories are written because of something someone in the government either said or did, like a vote that occurred. Businesses will spend a lot to keep track of this information, to the tune of $8 billion, employing consultants or a wide variety of software tools to keep track of policy for them so they can advocate for their needs. We think there's a huge area here for AI to make tracking the government easier than ever. Now, no longer can only the Fortune 500 afford an army of consultants or these tools to keep track of policy, but small businesses and individuals can do so as well using AI. AI can also translate a lot of the arcane language of legislation and policies into clear, actionable insights for consumers and these businesses. Finally, AI is always watching, which is great for us because it makes sure that we can keep track of every issue, whether it's a report or a meeting that occurs.
For right now, we're starting with congressional meetings. At just the federal level, 200 committees and subcommittees hold a total of 7,000 hours of publicly available legislative meetings every year. Businesses want fast, detailed insights from these long government meetings to be able to act on policy developments as quickly as possible. Our solution is to use LLMs and vertical ML models to generate analyst-quality, client-ready insights 20 times faster than traditional methods.
So the typical way that one of these interested parties, such as a corporation or a trade association, will track these government meetings is that they actually hire a team of government relations analysts whose entire job is just to sit through these hours-long video streams, take notes on them, and then spend even more hours distilling those notes into insights, which they then put into a general purpose memo, which gets sent out to all of their clients. For example, Amazon hires a team of these people, either externally or internally, to track everything related to e-commerce policy, and Tesla will do the same thing for EVs, for example. With Rescript, we've completely revolutionized this process. Now, instead of spending hours to watch a video, the analyst simply puts in a link to the video stream, and Rescript, within 5 minutes, generates a complete workspace where we've not only written the entire memo that they're so familiar with, but we also offer the option to instantly customize and tailor the memos to focus on the issues that their clients specifically care about. Also, we have a number of other tools such as a chatbot and semantic search, so that way these analysts can dig out insights which typically take them hours to find. With Rescript, we have an entirely new platform to fix this long-standing issue.
LLMs are one powerful part of our tech stack, but a number of other factors set us apart. First, we've developed specialized facial and voice recognition algorithms to be able to identify any of the 500 members of Congress in video or audio content. This allows us to ensure high standards of accuracy in attributing any segment of speech to the correct policymaker. Second, we leverage vertical ML models to intelligently clean and chunk raw hearing content. Lastly, because we're first to market, we've established the first data partnerships with top government relations firms, allowing us to fine-tune our models to best suit our users' needs.
Like Alex mentioned, AI is a big part of what we do at Rescript, and it's one reason we think we have an edge to win this market. Just like Politico leveraged the digital media model's tailwinds in 2006 to create a great offering for consumers, and Fiscal Note did the same using the SaaS model in 2013 to create a great offering for businesses, we think Rescript has the same opportunity with generative AI. Now, what does that actually look like when it's all said and done? In the future, we think that Rescript will operate a team of these AI agents that will track issues on behalf of individuals or businesses. It'll navigate the sea of government meetings and data, digest it, and create personalized, actionable insights for everyone, whether you're just interested as a citizen or if it's part of your job.
We're so excited about making this vision a reality, and we've been working really hard to do so. Since launching just 3 months ago, January of this year, we already have $115,000 in annual recurring revenue, which we've doubled ever since the Berkeley Regional Competition. And we have 40 users across 5 different customers, including a top 10 government relations firm, which we just closed a deal with in the past few weeks. We have a 96% profit margin, and most importantly, all of our users love our product. They're all renewing again month after month, and we're so excited to see where this takes us next. Thank you.
My question is around how do you think the end game for this type of service plays out? So, does this become commoditized? Understood services that are improving and inhale some of those things over time, or is that
Yeah, I think eventually it's going to be some sort of platform approach where it's impossible, I mean, honestly, for OpenAI to do everything. One thing that they're explicitly not going to do is do this kind of speaker identification across all of the internet data. They've kind of explicitly not allowed that, but for us, it's great because these are all publicly available, government things. So it's kind of okay to track what our Congress members are saying in public. We think that we're going to have a platform where eventually maybe people can build like integrations between all of the sea of government data and meetings. Eventually, we've started with just building it ourselves with congressional hearings, which has worked out great. but eventually it's going to be hopefully like a platform approach.
We've also been collecting a lot of data about like the specific policy vernacular that like lots of these top government relations firms use, like the preferences they have in their memos, the very specific formatting and like issues that they want to focus on. And that's all like, it can't be performed by like a general purpose model. It's all like highly esoteric like knowledge within just the field of government relations and like policy tracking. So
we saw this with Harvey, who trained their own legal model in collaboration with OpenAI just recently.
Do you think that the consultants to the industry for the forming is the most important one?
I think right now they're a great like beachhead because these kind of services are most centered in them. But eventually we imagine a future where every like organization will have their own kind of intelligent agent that'll keep track of this data for them. Right now, consultants are kind of doing that and centralizing a lot of that. But we think eventually it might just be the long tail of users that each have their own AI that does it at a much lower cost.
And something we're seeing is that we're sort of inducing a new like demand for this policy information for these people who didn't have access to these large armies of consultants before. For example, there's used to be this one person on a trade association who's using our product, and before he didn't have the bandwidth to cover everything, but now he's realizing there's so many insights that he can dig out from these like 10-hour long markups that he didn't even think to look into before. So we think that that trend is going to continue.
Just thinking there's a number of cases where companies that just provide data, there's limited upside in how much value they can create. There was some notable exceptions. But as you think about this over time, and you're providing this data that you can acquire or that the customers can acquire more efficiently, are there use cases or instances where you could imagine that you would do some specialized analytics or somehow do something that's above and beyond just making it easier for them to absorb the data?
Yeah, so we've thought a lot about like how we can go beyond just cost saving and like saving time. And we actually have like a product roadmap that we're looking at over just the next few months that we're currently building, where we're not only just going to be having them paste in a link where they're like, I don't want to spend 10 hours covering this meeting and cutting it down to like 5-10 minutes, but we're actually going to proactively go out and monitor every single one of these meetings, index them into a database, have it so that they can figure out, hey, like if I'm trying to advocate for some kind of policy or if I'm trying to look out for risks, who are my biggest allies, who are my biggest foes in Congress, and having that proactive digest being sent out as opposed to having them being the one that like has to actively put it into the platform is our next step. So that's what we're looking at right now.
So how are you different from something like Firefly?
Is
like
that
it's like we use it for kind of yeah.
Yeah, I think. You want to take this
Sure.
or?
Yeah, so I mean, fundamentally, something we've observed. We heard from a lot of our kind of initial problem discovery interviews that certain services like Briefly AI and other kind of meeting tracking services were, attempted to be used, but it's really problematic for this use case since this data and sort of these hearings come with a very particular structure. And so, for example, it'll start with kind of opening statements, then witness testimony, Q&A section, closing statements. It's hard without accurately identifying each of the speakers kind of on a one-to-one mapping to be able to really take this data and populate it into kind of a perceptible form. And so I think it really requires a tailored approach. And we've developed some of this feel and insight for how government relations works as a field that's given us kind of an edge in this space over some.
Yeah, and our system, like right out of the box, it knows every single member of Congress, what issues they advocate for, what position on every single joint committee, subcommittee, like committee they're on, like all of this very specific knowledge, as well as like the very specific way of doing things within this field makes it like we've had like lots of customers who've tried these products and then they end up just writing it by hand because it ends up not saving them any time at all using those general purpose ones.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you very much.
Next, we have Inex Tech. Inex Tech is building hydrogen-powered ocean robotics for long-endurance offshore surveys. They're combining the long-range capability of fuel cell technology and the low energy consumption of gliding to sustain their operations at sea for months at a time.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. I'm Aryan, co-founder and CEO of Inex Tech, and I'm here to tell you how we're innovating on high-endurance, zero-emissions ocean robotics for ocean data collection. Now, some of you are probably wondering, why is ocean data so important? Well, the truth is only a quarter of our seafloor has been mapped at a high enough resolution, and it's done by vehicles like these. For the rest of the pitch, I'll be calling it an AUV, so an autonomous underwater vehicle. They're unmanned and jam-packed with sensors. And they produce beautiful data sets like this, so characterizing the shape of the seafloor, working out the temperature, salinity, oxygen, and it's really useful in installing these, maintaining these, and preventing this from happening. Now, this is really useful for someone like Gary. Let's say he's the CEO of a major wind company, and he wants to put down a wind farm off the coast of Pembrokeshire in Wales. What does he need to do? Well, he needs to make sure that the seabed is strong enough and stable enough to put down these monopiles, and they won't just collapse in 10 years' time. So in the pre-installation checks, he needs to do a survey. And to get that high-resolution data, his first instinct is to launch an AUV. But he can't actually do that without having a research vessel or a mothership, as some call it, nearby. Those are nearby to recharge the AUV if it dies at sea, because they're only battery powered, and to actually take it from shore to the survey site. Now, this is where the problem lies. This is very expensive, quite heavily polluting, and often needs months of legislative processes before you can even get the AUV in the water, and this is just because of the mothership. Now, I don't know about you, but I wouldn't be very happy if I was Gary at all. And this is where Inex Tech comes in. We're looking to provide cleaner, cheaper, and easier to collect ocean data. And we're doing that by designing and manufacturing our own AUV. So by improving the energy storage on board with hydrogen power, and by decreasing the amount of energy we're consuming in transit with a buoyancy engine. So by increasing and decreasing our buoyancy periodically, we're able to glide through the water column. And then whenever we reach the survey point, we use the energy that we've saved with the fuel cell to conduct our level flight survey, which is by International Hydrographic Organization standards. Now, this is not just an idea. We've executed this with a proof of concept back in London. If I could, I would have brought it, but I couldn't. And it's really been useful as a test bench to put some sensors on it, test out things and parameters such as leaking, making sure that it's all sealed well, moves in a straight line, and testing our initial buoyancy engine design. Trust me, these are things that industry professionals still struggle with today. And so, off the bat of this, we've secured a pilot test in the Celtic Sea with a floating wind farm provider. This will serve as a really, really useful point to launchpad us into the hydrogen stage. So this vehicle will be used to demonstrate our buoyancy engine, make sure it's ocean ready, build our reliability, because that's what this whole industry is built upon, and to see how close to shore we can actually launch, because that's where the real cost saving lies. We've got 2 letters of intent signed with Coastal Impact. They're an NGO in India for coastal conservation, and with Sea Foresters. They're a startup in Portugal launching and planting kelp forests. And finally, a letter of support from Map the Gaps. And so we've been speaking to some of the largest names in ocean surveying like Excel, Salmara, and Fugro, and they've all validated the fact that present-day AUVs, completely lack the range to conduct longer range surveys, so surveying for longer, deeper, and at the end of the day, getting the data that matters. And so looking towards our market, we've narrowed it down to $100 million, I was about to say pounds, long-range market out of the AUV sector. And we're hoping to position ourselves as a much cheaper and more long-endurance alternative. Because the current competitors, like Kongsberg and Cellular, those vehicles are £30 million a pop, which is absolutely insane. And so in order to make money, we're adopting a dual channel revenue stream. So for those who want to buy the vehicle outright, it's about £500,000 per unit. But for those who maybe don't want to use the system for forever, and they want to use it for, let's say, a 3-week project, we can lease the vehicle to them, return it back to us, and then through a subscription model, license the data back. And so in terms of our roadmap, we've split our go-to-market strategy into 3 different phases. So number 1, pilot trials. That's where we're at the moment. And with the 30K that we hopefully stand to win tonight, we'll be able to design, manufacture, and deploy our ocean-ready MVP, which will be absolutely crucial. Then with hiring, we can use that to get our seed round and to outsource the hydrogen fuel cell manufacturing to an external partner. They're on the screen, I can't say who. And that's to really de-risk the business at such an early stage and get to market faster. And finally, one of our goals is to provide surveys end to end. So the way that the industry works is you have AUV manufacturers like Kongsberg, Cellular. They sell vehicles to survey companies who use those to survey for massive companies like Ørsted, EDF, Orange. But what we want to do in our plan is to sort of bypass that. So within 10, 15 years, we want to be surveying the end user. So a more end-to-end solution where we're designing, manufacturing, conducting the surveys. And so our team is quite multifaceted with experience in marine geophysics, surveys, and electrical engineering. And in the areas where we don't have expertise, we've actively gone out and found the best of the best in fuel cell manufacturing, fuel cell electric vehicles, robotics in the ocean, and finance. So this is the last slide. We'd like to ask you to join us in this journey in exploring the oceans quite in such a vast way through the innovations that we've described. So thank you, and yeah, open to questions.
Just to clarify for the judges, the first alarm that went off was not them. Yeah.
Who are the potential buyers of this data? How do you think about like the size of the market opportunity?
So you mean the data that's sold to the end users? So it's people like Ørsted and EDF and Orange, as I mentioned, and some oil and gas companies trying to decarbonize and sort of remove their rigs from the sea. So they value this data very, very highly, and it's actually more in the sort of billions order of magnitude because of the scale of operations required. So that's where we want to bypass sort of survey companies after we've gained enough engineering expertise, because in this sector, as I said, reliability is really key. So making sure we design the vehicles properly and then getting to that stage is in our timeline. So yeah, it will be companies like Ørsted, major wind, major oil and gas, who are looking to decarbonize, and pipelines, telecoms, it's quite huge.
I think I maybe didn't fully understand the market sizing versus the unit. You mentioned the sub that was like 30 million pounds, but then the market's like 100 million. I didn't really get how these things relate to each other.
Yeah, so we took a sort of bottom-up approach in figuring out how much the market would be worth. So these vehicles here, it's based on how many are sold like per year, basically, and that's the market that exists for these type of vehicles. And so the 100 million is, let's say, from sale of the Kongsberg vehicle and let's say a couple of these as well. So that's the sort of total that we've gone for, and including some of the sort of smaller range vehicles that are out there.
I think is the sort of, I don't know, revenue pass through from the actual sale of the data that comes out of these things.
So what percentage of the revenue comes from the data? Is that what you mean?
No, just if what you've sized is kind of this machine market that you're displacing, what's the value of the data that it is producing annually? Do you think? Just guess.
I think that's not. I'd say the data side comes later. I mean, for us, obviously, comparing with existing data in early stages is quite key, and that's valued quite highly. But right now, we're focusing more on the mechanical subsystems and getting the actual robots and the vehicles engineered. But the data side, I'd say, would be valued, again, if I go back to this slide, about 2 billion, if not a little bit more as well. Because that is, at the end of the day, these vehicles are pickup trucks, but you have to engineer the best pickup truck to get the best data. And the better you engineer them, the better data you'll get.
What's the length of the missions and the distance that you think you're going to be able to cover underwater?
Sure. So the buoyancy engine that we described should be able to travel for about 1,000 kilometers. And so theoretically, we can do missions worth 2 weeks, I'd say. from an earlier stage. And then hopefully, as we improve the amount of energy we've got on board, more hydrogen on board, and better buoyancy engines, that'll increase. So in the market today, you've got these AUVs, but you've also got underwater gliders. They use buoyancy engines, but they're more optimized for way deeper, and they travel for months on end because of how well their power system's been designed. And so, if we add some of that methodology into our vehicles, sort of bringing the two synergies to a synergy of the two technologies together, then it could be quite long range in theory. But what we're targeting is 2 weeks and sort of 1,000, 2,000 kilometers range.
And on average, what distance from a coastline, for example?
Yeah, so if we're surveying for the offshore wind, they're only about 60 to 100 kilometers off the shore, which means that we can actually stay there, survey for a while, and then come back and not have to worry too much. But yeah, again, 1,000, 2,000 kilometers away.
We have time for one more question.
Theoretically, and actually in practice as well, it depends on how you engineer it. If you make it out of aluminium, up to 300 meters. If you make it out of titanium, 1,000 and onwards, even down to 6,000 meters. I don't think anyone's achieved full ocean depth, which is 11K, like Mariana Trench, but 6,000 meters is a max, which obviously we'd need more funds and R&D into later on. I would improve it, as in it would increase the cost of manufacturing to make it more resilient to those pressures.
All right, thank you.
Just as a quick aside, our next competitor is zooming in from India, but we shall connect with him soon.
Hey, can you hear us?
Yes, yes. Hello. Hello. Am I audible?
Yes, you are. 1 second. Can we do that?
All right, yeah. If you want to share your screen with your slides, we'll introduce you.
Yeah. Is my skin visible?
Yeah, we can see your screen.
Okay. So.
All right.
Yeah. Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Myself, Saiful, and I'm the founder of Mutan X. Here in Mutan X, we are aiming to promote and provide affordable, accurate, and rapid healthcare through AI-driven solutions and genetic analysis with precision medicine. So let me just introduce you what is the actual problem with traditional medicine. As we all know that around we have seen in our relatives that major problems such as cancer or different disorders, genetic disorders, these disorders actually cause a lot of problem with patient. And in during the treatment of the patient, we can see that some of the patients are getting treated with the same medication and others are not. Take my example, for instance, I have three kidney patients in my own family, and those patients are receiving the same treatment in which two of them got the treatment and it worked for them and one did not for unfortunate reasons. So there are major reasons why traditional medicine is not applicable because everyone's genetic makeup is different. So our aim and mission at Mutanex is to provide personalized medicines to everyone and to commercialize it. But the major problem in personalized medicine are such as it costs a lot, around 2 to 4 weeks to make a precision profile for a patient, including genetic test timing and follow-ups from the doctor. Around 25 to 75,000 rupees is the cost hurdle because everyone cannot actually make precision profile, and escalating disease such as 1 in every 50 people are affected by mutations to doctor also does not have that much time to actually put it into providing and tailoring the treatment for everyone. So these are the problems which cause personalized medicine not to be commercialized and used for everyone. So we come up with the solution, which is an AI powered SaaS platform, which actually integrates the whole process of genetic analysis and precision medicine, and it can directly be linked to the sequencer so that whole complete process will be done through the AI. And at last, we will get a precision profile of tailored medication for the patient. So it will reduce the time, because the time taken by the software to actually provide the precision medicine profile is around 2 minutes to 2 hours. And so the follow-up cost and the cost of the laboratory bioinformatician salaries will reduce the overall cost of making personalized medicines, as well as it will be able to, as a software, it will able to provide collaboration with physicians and laboratory to have a collaborative approach so that everyone can receive precision medicine profiles, and the treatment of cancer and other drugs can be accurately given to the patients. So let me give you a brief about what product is, how it can help, and how easy we have made a precision profiling. It's just a 5 step. You just have to
2 minutes
create an
remaining.
account on the website and fill some clinical details, which after those details you have to upload the genetic file, or you can directly link it with the sequencer. File could be FASTA, FASTQ, VCF. Depending on the file, it will generate the it will do the genetic analysis and provide a precision profile within 2 minutes to 2 hours, depending on how many genes or how many files you have uploaded. So the basic key differentiators of our product is it is an all-in-one solution for the problem that precision medicine and personalized medicine is facing, as well as we have a collaborative and easy to use platform so that everyone can use it, clinicians as well as laboratories and also patients. We have a AI symptoms to gene to association model so that anyone from the patient can also use it, and we can collaborate them with laboratories and doctor to use to actually make precision profile with it. Also, at the
One
end
minute
of the day,
remaining.
we will give them ADR profiling and treatment tailoring so that complete AI driven analysis can help the patient to get rapid, accurate, and affordable personalized treatment regimens. Here is a technical framework of which we have used a database from public database such as drug data sets, different genetic mutation data sets. Also, we have developed our algorithm for and pipeline to detect pathogenicity for particular disease, and according to those disease, precision medicine profiles are made on the basis of mutations that are seen in the patient. Our overall business model consists of three different types of models. First is paper analysis model, in which individuals, such as whether it be a laboratory or hospital or a patient, will pay as per their report. Another is collaborative model, in which we provide software to laboratories and hospitals to reduce their time to create precision profiles, and through the booking of appointments from directly website to doctors. Also, average profit per analysis shows this all will show the average profit per analysis, as well as API based charges in research and education institute we are providing the software. So the market size for
Um, so
complete precision
you
medicine is around around $540 billion, and there are 70 million genetic disorder patient, and this is not including the cancer patients. And the testing market is around 2.5 billion with an expected growth of 21% of growth in upcoming 7 years. Our target customers would be the hospitals in which oncologists and geneticians seek precision profile in treating their patients more accurately.
Thank you,
Also, the
Saiful. That's
patients would benefit.
time. Thank you. That's all the time we
Okay.
have. We're gonna pivot into judge Q&A. but great work.
Okay, thank you so much.
My question is around how you would articulate the major pain point that you're solving. Is the major problem that drugs are not effective for certain cases, or is it that they are harmful in certain cases?
Yeah, basically what happens if that during a certain genetic disorder, we are not able to accurately determine which drug would can be most effective for that particular patient. For instance, if a patient have a genetic disorder, he might be having it due to some mutation in a protein, and we are not able to actually identify the protein in less time. We have to do genetic analysis, then multiple sitting of doctors take a long time to actually determine what mutation is actually causing, what is the pathogenic mutation, and how we can eradicate the mutation. So the data sets we have accumulated in our AI model actually include will actually give the pathogenicity as well as the most efficient drug protocol that could be used for those mutation to the patient, so that any patient with any kind of cancer disorder or genetic rare disorders can receive immediate treatment in affordable cost, because
So sorry.
the whole
So
cost of
is the primary
uh,
user
follow-ups would be eradicated.
is the primary user of that profile a clinician in a hospital setting?
Yeah, hospitals as well as geneticians, because geneticians and laboratories, because laboratories won't have to then hire a lot of team. They can just buy the subscription of the software, and the software will do all the genetic analysis, which include alignment, indexing, annotations, genicity detection, everything. It is directly collaborated with the sequencer, so that anyone can use it. There is no need to actually hire professional to find out pathogenicity and mutations, or do the whole work of genetic analysis. As well as doctors can also use it, so that they can get the precision profile, because we are providing protocols or treatment on that particular mutations.
Thanks.
Can you give me some idea of what the landscape looks like? Because there are other companies doing similar
Yeah,
things.
yeah. Okay. So competitive landscape was my another point, that in competitive landscape we have companies like Nostock Genomics, Map My Genome, Doctor Lab, Path Labs. These generally what our USP is that after the genetic analysis, our model actually gives genetic treatment protocol and the most efficient treatment. All these companies are working towards precision medicine, but in a way that they provide genetic analysis, and the team of doctor will evaluate what is the possible protocol, or what would be the treatment. But our competitive advantage is that we provide real-time analysis as well as protocols, treatment regimens for the particular mutations. There
Okay,
are
thanks.
other genetic laboratories in USA, such as 23andMe, which is working in this particular field, but they are limited to pathogenicity detection, or detection of what kind of mutations are there in the patient, and the protocol or treatment is to be given by the doctor then afterwards.
All right, we have time for one more question. All right, then. Thank you so much, Saiful.
Thank you.
All right, next we have Possible Foods. The pet food industry's heavily reliance on meat represents a staggering 22% of global meat consumption. At Possible Foods, they're working to utilize fermentation to transform food side streams into kavaka mycoprotein for smarter, cleaner, and greener pet nutrition.
Perfect. We at Possible Foods are converting potato wastes into our proprietary kavaka mycoprotein for smarter and meatier pet nutrition. Hi everyone, I am Arman and here's my best friend and co-founder Samyak. Both of us are currently second-year undergraduate students at the National University of Singapore. I'm doing chemical engineering, Samyak is doing economics, and very fortunately both of us are on full scholarships by the Singapore government. The initial idea for Possible Foods came about in the orientation week of our freshman year, and we've not looked back since then. The potato industry is inherently inefficient. For every 100 kgs of potato produced, more than 18.5 kgs never ends up on our plates. It's simply ignored. This number exceeds 28 million tons in Asia alone, and this number is increasing. Not only is this nutrition wasted, but it often ends up in our landfills or is incinerated, leading to greenhouse gas emissions. We at Possible Foods imagine a different future with our fermentation process. Now, you may be wondering what this fermentation process is, right? It's simply divided into 5 broad steps, with step 1 being converting the starch from potato wastes into simple sugars. Step 2 is selecting and screening a strain that has the ideal organoleptic and growth properties. Step 3 is growing this strain on the simple sugar. So ideally the strain or the fungi converts this simple sugar into a source of protein, which when minimally processed leads to an ingredient like this. This is the first prototype that we worked on at NUS. And ideally, this mycoprotein, when combined with other plant-based and animal-based ingredients, leads to infinite possibilities in smarter and more sustainable pet nutrition.
So the potato industry is not the only industry we're solving for. Pet nutrition today is also inherently flawed. Most of the pet nutrition products on the market today are made using 4D meats or meats that are dead, decaying, dying, or diseased, and are often laced with antibiotic residues as well as euthanizing agents such as sodium pentaorbital. My friends, these ingredients are simply not good for our pets. Not only that, if all the pets on the planet today were to make a country, that country would be the 5th largest consumer of meat. And given the impact of meat on our climate, this just isn't sustainable. Lastly, pet food manufacturers and suppliers are also suffering due to increases in disease outbreaks and the general impact of climate change on the meat-based supply chain. So why kavaka mycoprotein, you may ask? Well, you see 6 reasons on your screen today, but our promise at Possible is simple. We want to create protein that's cleaner than any animal-based source out there and meatier than any plant-based source out there. Not just that, animal protein takes 2 years and antibiotics to grow. Plant-based protein takes 6 months and fertilizers to grow. Our kavaka mycoprotein takes less than a day and is geography agnostic. Imagine the impact of this at scale. So coming to our revenue streams, we essentially look at it in 2 ways. The majority of the revenue we believe will come from selling the kavaka mycoprotein to other pet food companies. And we want to start with plant-based pet food companies like Bramble and Wild Earth, both of which are friends of IndieBio, and then move on to more traditional players like Pedigree and Purina. We also want to use our own kavaka mycoprotein in our CPG lineup, which we recently launched in India. And the reason for having a CPG lineup is split into 3. Number 1, we want to create usage data and proof of history for more stringent regulators here in the US as well as EU. Number 2, we want to be able to directly interact with the end customer. And number 3, we believe that it's a top-of-the-line sales funnel for our B2B operations. So we are looking at our CPG lineup in India more of as a marketing expense for our B2B ingredient itself. Over the past 12 months, we've been fortunate to receive support from both the Indian government as well as the Singaporean government, as well as leading private institutions in Asia. We've got $30,000, of which $15,000 came from the incoming Prime Minister of Singapore's office. And we've also gotten into partnerships with leading plant-based dog food companies in Southeast Asia and India for co-developing this protein ingredient, and we are actively looking for partners here in the US. Owing to our second major in IDP and NUS's flexible curriculum, our bachelor's thesis will actually be the pilot scale operations of this ingredient by 2026, which is when we graduate. Lastly, as I mentioned, we also just launched our CPG brand in India using existing byproduct simple fermentation to get a general idea of the consumer landscape. Focus, focus, focus. The entire world today is focusing on the impact of meat that humans consume. Yet, 22% of all global meat consumption is being done by our pets today, and no one seems to solve for this. We at Possible Foods want to solve for exactly this inefficiency. So join us in our mission to save our planet one paw at a time.
All right, thank you so much. Yeah, we launched that product about 4 months ago, just to understand the consumer landscape in India and cater better to the B2B market, which we do cater to.
And dogs will eat it?
Yes. It's actually, so if you go to our Instagram page, you can see me eating the product. Yeah, it's consumable by humans as well.
So do you have to put anything on it? Or?
So the first product we launched was actually a nutritional topper, because what we realized in a country like India, most people are just feeding home cooked food to their dog because there are no vegetarian alternatives, or because they can't bring meat into the household. I've been a vegetarian household all my life. I never got a dog because meat was just a big no-no. So we started with a topper just to understand how people are perceiving pet nutrition and to better understand, how a powdered ingredient can be incorporated into existing food. And the plan now is, as we develop the protein ingredient, come up with more of these CPG products to better understand the market in Asia.
But ideally, this product increases palatability and nutrition.
There wasn't a lot of nutritional information.
Yeah, it's on the back. Also, a lot of claims are basis the ingredients.
How do you think about acquisition in a consumer company where you have a set price point and it costs a certain amount to produce it and you have a set gross margin? Like, the most important thing is just figuring out how to efficiently get to consumers so that you have an acquisition cost that's lower than the cost it takes to actually service a customer and provide the goods. And so how do you think about consumer acquisition? Do you have any ideas for unique consumer acquisition channels that might drive down your cost of acquisition over time?
Yeah, so essentially, we do not look at ourselves as a CPG brand. That being said, on that product, we have a 4x multiple on cost to sales price. But essentially, the idea is to run the CPG on a break-even model, just to understand the market better and to actually get that usage history for, Western regulators and other countries. Because we've heard of companies where their protein is approved for human consumption, but AFCO would just reject them based on, their metrics. So if we were able to take to AFCO that this product has been launched in India and Singapore, and this is all of the consumers that have used it, then that just creates a lot of, history of the ingredient itself, which is a very big bottleneck in novel protein.
Ideally, we see consumer acquisition more in the B2B space. So, yeah, we ideally want to be the Intel Inside of a sustainable pet food ingredient, and yeah, reaching out to those people and potentially co-developing it with them, with the CPG side as a sales funnel indirectly.
Initially, in your first couple of pages, you were talking about this big, over wastage of potato problem. How do you get into the flow of the potatoes? I kind of missed that.
Yeah, so we started off with, wanting to make alternative forms of protein for pets, but then we realized that that's just half the solution. Plugging gaps within the current food system is the other half. And we actually started researching on a lot of these side streams to grow our mycoprotein on. And potato we chose for two reasons. One, it's very rich in starch, so the conversion to simple sugar is a lot easier.
Yeah, that part I get. How do you get the potatoes? Or how do you partner into that market?
Yeah, so what we're doing is we're partnering up with some of these, potato chips manufacturers, because, they have like processes and it's like a lot cleaner to just source it off them. It might not be as efficient to take it directly from the farm, because by the time it reaches the potato chips manufacturer, it's already gone to some sort of screening. So it's just a lot easier to control the raw material.
We have time for one more question, if there are any. All right. Thank you so much, guys. All right. Next, we have Evident Battery. Evident Battery develops comprehensive and non-destructive inspection solutions for EV battery packs to address the challenges in evaluating the health conditions and financial values of post-sale EVs.
Hi everyone, we're Team Evident Battery. So what we do is we develop a comprehensive, non-destructive, deep diagnostic tools specifically for electric vehicle battery packs.
Battery pack is the most critical and expensive component of an EV. It accounts for 40% of its total value, with average replacement cost at $16,000. In 2028, 2.5 million battery packs will face premature battery pack replacement, leading to $40 billion financial loss for the whole market. The reason behind this high volume battery pack replacement is the insufficient inspection currently offered in the market. As you can see on this diagram here, there are a lot of critical systems inside the battery pack to keep it functional. Thermal system, mechanical system, structural system are all need sufficient inspection to ensure battery pack's functionality. However, commercial technology focuses solely on the electrical measurement of battery cells. The reason behind that is that deep diagnostics that impact all the systems I just mentioned involves severe operational challenges. Currently, key stakeholders and Tesla Ford, what they offer is simple bottom visual check of your battery pack, BMS data reading, and a test drive, which are insufficient to catch all the potential problems. Current deep diagnostics is a destructive process that involves EV technicians certifying environment to perform, which is costly, dangerous, and time-consuming. All stakeholders in this market require sufficient inspection to avoid safety risk and financial loss. Our key target customers are OEMs, insurance company, dealership, and repair facilities. Specific use cases include new pre-delivery inspection, used EV pre-purchase inspection, and post-accident assessment and repairs. And what we offer to our customers is a non-destructive, this cost-effective and fast inspection solution.
Yeah, we combine electrical reading from the BMS that's existing in every single battery pack and mechanical assessment. So our mechanical assessment technology is hardware, software combined, developed based on mechanical vibration analysis, robotic mobility, and machine learning algorithms. In these two main inspection processes, we don't need to disassemble the battery pack at all. We're correlating the signal signature to the known failure mode. At the end of the inspection, we provide a customer report with detailed information, including the battery pack state of health, included by the beyond battery cells. Also, the lifespan and financial value estimation. Our team has built a beta product, as you can see on this image. It features vibration analysis, robotic mobility, and a fully automatic measurement. From lab testing validation, our detection accuracy is over 90%. A few other advantages I want to mention here. First, it's very cost-effective. Hardware, software combined, the development process from RD only costs less than $3,000. That's the reason why we choose vibration analysis, low cost to generate, very reliable, resistant to testing environment. We can do inspection in a shop environment. We can also do inspection in a roadside service, roadside assistant, or remote service manner. Go-to-market strategy, short term, we focus on hardware development. We provide inspection as a service to our customers. Here we use a subscription-based model. Because we process the data, we know how many inspection was completed by the customers. With a $40 per inspection charge come from our customer discovery with many customers, that's how much we will charge. As we accumulate data over time, we want to be transitioning into a data analytics company, like Carfax equivalent for EVs, telling customers all the history about their EV battery packs. What makes our technology differentiate from others is the comprehensiveness. As we can see here, inside the battery pack, there are many critical systems. Our technology can inspect all critical systems with a focus on the structural and system integration issues, but our competitors just narrowly focus on one or two systems. Most of them are focused on the battery cells. Financial projection and market shares, we look into this in two folds. The first one is the inspection as a service. So we have a $1.7 billion market opportunities, represent 25% of the market share in this inspection market. That is to address the total market loss due to the premature battery pack replacement. Look at the data side. We have a $3.3 billion market opportunities, also represent 25% of the market share, to help insurance companies reduce the high claim cost. With minor or no damage to the battery pack after accident, they have to write every single EV. So by doing that, we also help the EV drivers to save a lot of money, because we all know EV drivers are paying 27% more for their insurance. Long term, as we're transitioning into a data analytics company, we want to become Carfax equivalent. So here's Carfax valuation for now. In the future, we can collaborate with them or we can replace them. We are on track to solve this problem. We have incorporated, built, test our beta product. We filed a patent and we trademarked to protect our hardware, software technology, and brand names. We also signed a letter of intent with the EV rental car business in the Midwest. We're going to deliver our product mid this year. By end of the year, we'll officially launch our product focused on low volume production, Q2 2025. We'll do further commercialization and grow our market further. Here's our team. We have expertise spanning EV, manufacturing, and entrepreneurship. I did my PhD at Georgia Tech in 2 years, focused on manufacturing research, 30 journal publications, focused on additive manufacturing, machining processes. After that, I worked at Tesla. At Tesla, I was the lead reliability engineer responsible for all battery pack programs. We also have machine learning scientists. We have our co-founder, Wenbo, with a strong background in the structural design, test
All
analysis.
right, that's all the time we have. Thank you so much.
Thanks, everyone.
Questions from the judges?
I'm trying to understand what the vibration kind of testing does. If I understood it correctly, you're kind of leveraging the BMS and the sensor data, and let's call it the onboard telemetry in combination with some mechanical sensing, and you're
Exactly.
using these two things together. And so does that mean that a lot of the failure modes are actually mechanical in these packs?
Yeah, when working at Tesla, the biggest pinpoint is like, what are the problems and what's the percentage of those problems from the mechanical, structural, and control units? There's no sensor attached. So I look at a lot of literature. Some of the literature studied the battery cell failures, only 33%. So it means the other 2/3 is the problem with the structural, thermal, mechanical, and control units. So we use mechanical assessment to capture those issues. So that will just make the inspection more comprehensive, telling customer what are the problems we need to address. By addressing those early life failures, we can avoid the replacement of the battery pack.
Ah, I see.
Show my ignorance here, but like, is there a yearly EV inspection? Like, what does that process look like?
Yeah, we have different user cases. Regular maintenance inspection, like an annual inspection, is what we recommended. But currently, OEM doesn't have such requirement because they don't have a technology like ours. When I work at Tesla, they try to do embedded sensor. It means add sensors to the structural, thermal, mechanical components, but end up too expensive. You can't add $30,000 because you add a sensor. Customer not going to pay for that. So by doing the annual inspection, you can better understand your battery pack conditions. You can understand what's the value of your battery pack. When you decide to sell or buy used EVs, that's also very important information. Other user cases, as we talk about here, when you deliver a new car, you understand the battery pack conditions. That's called a pre-delivery inspection. When you buy, sell a used car, you will do the pre-purchase inspection to understand the battery pack condition. Others will be the pinpoint from insurance company after accident. What happened to the battery pack? If it's not damaged, why we put it in recycling? So they need assessment and understand the information.
Okay, for all these customers, who's likely to be the first customer?
We already have a first customer with the EV rental car company, but we're also in contact with lots of insurance companies. In the past couple of months, we talked to State Farm, Liberty Mutual, Allstate. For the OEMs, I have a strong connection with Tesla. I know how to get into the service procedure before getting into the manufacturing process. We also have an advisor leading all battery pack programs at Ford, similar procedure. The reason I want to start with the smaller player is smaller players are easy to adopt our technology. Once they prove the usefulness, the larger players can use. If you look at the 4 customers here, they mainly do service, transaction, and financing. There are some overlappings. Tesla sells the car, service the car, right? So the service repair facilities also do some of the service. Dealership also do some of the sale transactions.
Okay.
Do you believe that there's arbitrage in the insurance market around kind of the warrantying, aftermarket warranty, something like that for BMS, for the batteries?
Yeah, there's a huge market there. So when we talk to those insurance companies, they have 2 concerns. The one is after accident, they don't understand the battery pack conditions. They have to recycle everything. The second thing is the liability. They don't want to take the liability. That's the reason why they say, okay, no matter what happened to the battery pack, let's just write it off. But that gives them a huge cost. Like 2% of the business are EVs, but the claim cost is more than 10%. That's the reason why they want to solve the liability problems and understand the value, extract the useful part from battery pack.
Are there any more questions? All right. Thank you so much, guys.
Demo effect. Let's hope it works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens.
A little glitchy sometimes.
It's a little glitchy sometimes.
Hopefully it doesn't disconnect your presentation.
Okay, a little glitchy is kind of our style.
Yeah.
How's it going, y'all? Nice.
Yeah. Let's go.
All right, so this is Gamut Inc. Gamut believes that everyone is trying to use LLMs to edit text, but believes that the current chatbots format is not the way to do it. So they're working to build an idea editor that they call Gamut.
Great, that's a good summary, actually. First of all, I'm Huxley.
I'm Albert.
Yeah, we've done research in a bunch of places. We've gone in a bunch of things. We've gotten a bunch of downloads on previous projects, but most importantly, we've been best friends since high school. We've grown up building stuff together. But what I'm really excited to talk to you guys about today is, hit the button. Yeah, Gamut. Okay, so, our thesis is like, hey, communication is one of the most important things ever, but there's this big block, and that's writing. Right, writing shouldn't be the barrier to communication. The internet was great because it let anybody publish, right? We could democratize publishing, but that's not the same for communication. Nothing is there yet. The thing about our society is that if you can't communicate, you can't participate, and that sucks, right? And we're trying to smash that barrier. Oh, I didn't know that one was there. All right, that's a great question. Have you guys actually ever tried writing with ChatGPT? It totally sucks. It doesn't work. You're constantly reprompting. You don't know what's changed. It doesn't actually work. It's because of this AI assistant chatbot interface. And everyone's doing it, right? It's kind of the most obvious interface. It's very early tech, right? It's ChatGPT, it's Grammarly, it's Word, it's Google Docs, it's Notion, it's Jasper. They're all doing the same exact interface, which is this external chatbot assistant interface, where you kind of ask it to write for you, and it doesn't really do what you want. But the thing is, there's some great tech there. And if we think from first principles about a new interface that uses this underlying technology in a better way, we can do way better. And that's what we did. So we're focusing on what we think is really important, which is just the ideas. And you can have that in the form of bullet points. All right, here's our demo. Let's see. So the first thing you do is, in our system, we're kind of thinking about this as a video editor for text. You can select a clip, we call it a segment, and say, this is the text that I want to modify. And you can drag on an effect from the side, and then continuously slide all of your text from bullet points to prose. You get full control over exactly what you want it to say. You can see exactly what's changing. And of course, we have all these other effects like, oh, write it in the style of New York Times. And we can continue layering on effects as if we're color correcting an image or editing a video. And you can see exactly what changes. And you get this incredibly fast control and this incredibly responsive control in this low iteration cycle to say exactly what you mean. And you can imagine how this is going to be so much better for something like concision, where instead of saying to ChatGPT, like, hey, can you make this more concise? No, make it more concise again. You can just slide it to be exactly where you want. Okay. I think this is actually not the cool part. I think the cool part's coming up right here. What you can do is, we're sort of borrowing a lot of design language from stuff like video editors and really any other powerful editing software. But color correcting, Fusion, CAD, Blender, all of these tools, we're using their same ideas, which is this idea of non-destructive editing. So none of these effects are actually modifying our underlying text. All they're doing is they're stacking on top of it. So what that means is I can go over to my effect and extend it, and all of this text will flow through the same set of effects. And of course, I can go back in time and say, no, actually, instead of New York Times, let's make it something like Orwell instead. So I can go back and change what I'm editing. And if you imagine, color correcting an image or something like that, where you have to, go Command Z a bunch of times before you can make an edit, and you have to go all the way back. It would be ridiculous, right? We can't do it. But this type of editing interface is how all the modern, good editing interfaces work. And then of course I can delete all of my effects, and because it's all stacked on top in what we call the effect stack, all the text goes right back to the beginning because none of it's actually been modified. All right. You guys want to see it in action?
So you're like, oh, that looks great, right? Nice YouTube video you got there.
Yeah, okay.
So here is where we're at.
We were told to never give live demos. We are not going to follow that advice.
So let's get some text that we're all familiar with. Start with some bullet points. The idea is you've got some idea, they're in bullet points, and now we want to flesh it out a little bit. So go in here.
You good?
Let's take a look at this first paragraph. Create a segment. This is our workspace right now, and all of the design comes from user interviews of when you're editing, like the feedback that you get is this paragraph is too long or something like that. And so that's why it's so key to have just one segment that we're working on. Yeah. And then, grab a flesh out. Let's bring it up a little bit. And one other thing that's really different from existing things is you can see exactly what's changing with these highlights. And of course, you can stack everything. I really like reading age because I want my things to be easy to read. Not exactly the best reader. Just kidding. And we can also highlight things like view key concepts. And so all this is built out. Some of the animations are a little glitchy, but that's where we're at.
Oh yeah, and next slide. Yeah. So this is what no, I had read an essay earlier. This is the full interface that you can see. We started with a bullet point. We have all these layered segments on the side, and we have all these different stuff stacked on top of it. We have all these effects like insert concepts, viewing your key concepts, which you can see highlighted, and then you can keep stacking. And what's super cool is we have this double-click interface where you can double-click on the text, and it goes back to your bullet points, and you can add in a new bullet point, and it will reflow through all of your text.
So instead of having,
Sorry guys, that's really cool, but we're unfortunately out of time.
we're gonna go to. Okay. Yeah, there's some business stuff, but you guys can.
All right. So, do the judges have any questions?
Sure. I'll just maybe didn't get to it. What's the business model?
We're not business people, to be honest. So we're open to mentorship, but we think that freemium. Also, people are becoming. So it could be.
Wait, should we go to our pricing slide?
Oh yeah. So it costs us about 40 cents a month for what a typical writer reads, and it costs us about 40 months. So we price at $4 a month compared to.
Okay, wait, sorry, I'm gonna break the rules really quick. I hope you don't mind. I gotta say, we can't take all the credit for this. We didn't do this alone. We have a really great team behind us, working with all these folks. All right, thanks, guys.
Yeah, the IP help was actually helpful.
Back to the final slide. Yeah. Okay.
A business related question again, if it's a $12 price point, you need to get to a huge scale of usage in order to build a really big business. And so how do you think about on the same question of customer acquisition, how do you think about really efficiently distributing it? I think what ChatGPT did that was so amazing is was able to get to mass scale really efficiently and really organically. And so how do you think about that kind of viral distribution?
Yeah, so just to be clear, we would price at $4 compared to Grammarly. It can be really cheap. And this is literally a web app. So software companies scale. We've built this all on scalable infrastructure. And what we're here to ask for today is just the runway to feed the server. So everything is kind of serverless, and so it all scales really fast. It just means that we need to have enough money in the bank account that if something goes viral, there's that buffer for us to be able to feed people before we start getting paid. And how do we advertise this? If you've noticed, kids these days have really short attention. And what we realized is that these animations are eye candy. So we're looking at it's very easy to market this with short form video. And so we've really built it to be the kind of thing that's we're in class. You see someone using this, wait, what is that? Can I get it? Looks super sick.
We're hoping to spread through word of mouth as well. We have people ready to go to actually do launches with this stuff at all these different high schools across the Bay Area where we're from, along with a few colleges. And also, long-term play. We want to go for enterprise because that's where a lot of money is. For content marketing, we'll pay them a whole bunch.
Can I ask what models you're using?
It's a mix, but mostly we're able to fine-tune really small models because we're very explicitly trying to not do any of it. We're just working on text. Come from the writer. The writer wants to express what they're thinking, so we don't want to modify it. So that is actually doubly beneficial. That only focus. Just change how you're presenting.
If you use ChatGPT, it changes all of your concepts every single time. You can't actually get it to keep the concepts the same. So we focused on that a lot, making sure that we have what we call idea isomorphism. So ideas in or ideas out, and that's what our special models are doing.
To give you an idea of the tech, because nobody seems to have questions, one of the really hard parts is actually getting this diff view to show, because if you put the right into a normal model, everything's going to change. It's going to be all completely. So we're working.
Is there a way that when you think about training the models, like, are you training it on a user basis, or are you training it across your entire, like an individual user versus an entire user base? Because I imagine I, as a writer, like, I have a very particular way of writing. And so if I could train a model that would write the way that I write, that would be so much more valuable than using a model that's generalizable.
So right now, back to the app. Yeah, so right now we're doing that. We're training across the whole user base, but we also have a feature just for that. We have a way for you to add your own voice, where we learn from your text, and you can do it in whatever voice you want. The voice feature.
So this would be, you could plug in something here that might be an example, which becomes very simple. Or you can take a bunch of sliders, like have presets for where you like those to group that into one and then just
Okay. So that concludes all of our pitches. Can we get a round of applause for everybody?
So that is the end of round 2. And so we are a bit ahead of schedule. So we're going to start the keynote and the judge deliberations at 3:10, giving us 12 minutes to, go get water. But we need everyone in here at 3:10 besides our lovely judges who will be taken to the judge deliberation room. And we're so excited for our keynote with Eva Lao. So yay. 12 minutes, be back in here at 3:10. Thank you.
Lovely to meet you. My pleasure. It's so much fun to just hear the last few pitches. And I right away know that what I need to change in my presentation to make it so more relatable to the team. It will be a very interactive,
What does this mean? There are a couple of bugs.
Good. I will be walking. If you actually have a little mic that I can just put on, that will make it easier to because then I'll be like literally going around talking to people.
Kevin?
This is so awesome. This is going to be a lot of fun. I'm so excited. Wow. I'm not joking you. You'll be missing a lot of fun because it is. This is going to be one of the fun interactive sessions. Let's move down towards the front. And let me, sorry, I'm gonna try to fetch it.
I arrived like 2 days ago. Take a look at all the launch membership.
Eva Lao from Toronto. I think so. I'm just.
It's been a long hour.
How was it?
From Manhattan. I'm from Manhattan.
Me too.
Oh.
I went to Herrick's, but.
Herrick's, we got. I went to BC.
Huh? Oh, okay. Wait, what part of it is it?
Upper side.
Oh, it's like near Great Neck. I'm on the left. I'm like.
Outside?
Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
I was confused. Okay. You're from Long Island. Then go
No. Sorry. It's like somewhere at the beginning. Yeah. I'm from the island.
You got confused. Hi. And your name? But I think.
Because like Kevin 3 people have already.
Okay.
Go for it.
Oh, good. Perfect. Yeah, because then I'll be walking around, chit-chatting, and doing whatever I want.
Standard, this clips onto like your back pocket. It's very small touch here.
Really?
Yeah, it's on.
Let me
get. Okay. I feel like if you notice the eye contact, maybe something.
Ellie, Jason, Alexi. Tim?
Can you guys hear me? Hello.
I'm just gonna go run over there.
How do we have tech? I just would never.
Oh, I'm sure you can. Hello, hello. I couldn't hear a thing. Can you hear me? You can hear me? Oh, the good volume. Oh, okay. Okay.
I can.
As long as you say so.
I can also tweak the gain a little bit.
Oh no. It's okay. Well, now I can hear myself. I think I have to kind of like.
Yeah, probably move it a button up.
Yeah, I have to bring it down a bit.
You can hear back there? Yeah. All good? Great. Wonderful. Were you guys just like basically saying, yeah, you guys are obviously gonna say
Yeah,
just met.
We just met.
Surprise? It was like, it was more so, it's like,
Yeah. Yeah, we just figure this out. Throw it to the back.
oh yeah.
Sorry.
Kind of. It's
Something wrong?
research and financial engineering.
Yeah, the clicker would be nice.
Well, I'm doing cosmo. Yeah, it's.
So you're based in New York?
I'm actually based in Toronto.
So,
But I come to New York very often. My daughter is in Carson, so I come here relatively often.
Very nice.
Hey,
Club, like.
can you guys? I guess you guys can hear me.
Yeah.
Good now. This is good. All right, perfect.
Also, like, there's like our,
Yeah. So I was just hoping someone can help me take some pictures, like.
there's like a specific like one.
We also have
Yeah.
2 people.
But it's not.
Usually I get those like weeks later.
It's much.
That's all. Yeah. So
Good.
leave it with the photographer. Hopefully she can help me.
It's not very pressed, but we made it work.
Well,
We don't even have a business.
Okay.
Right here.
All right. I can see it at the back. Perfect.
you want to work 2 jobs?
I can turn you on back there.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's yeah. I don't know that many people that are like. There's definitely a lot of people interested in startups and everything. That's why we have the entire club. But there's not a lot of paths like through Princeton. So everything's just like outsourced. Like they just like do it themselves from outside, or they do it through one of these clubs. Yeah. So there's not. Okay. Do you find like that?
I've been like changing it to like 4 different times.
Like external places, like West Coast, East Coast. What's the deal with that?
Or if it's like our applied
I'm not completely sure. Like I'm not much into myself. But I definitely know that
I thought I
those
was
people
and I
that
was
want to
like,
start like I always look at people in other colleges like you can like important kids.
You can just
Like all the
camera. Thank you.
so they have a lot of resources at UPenn itself. I know a lot of people that go like up to Columbia, NYU for NYU Stern. So it's just like they look to other colleges because they have much more resources and everything. I probably the 2 directors. They probably know the most. Yeah, Richard and Sophia. Yeah, I'm not.
We have like a lot of.
I don't.
Hello. How are you?
Probably.
Good.
I can do like. I'd probably go as like some software engineer or something. Maybe like. I don't know. I personally don't have too much motivation to start, so I don't know much about it, unfortunately. But I definitely think like you can definitely ask any of the TigerLaunch and they'd probably be like very into it. Yeah, we're definitely. I do.
Yeah, they're doing anything small thing
After this,
where you.
So my husband was the CEO and co-founder of Wattpad. So I help him build it. Yes, before I turn myself into an investor. I would assume you're familiar with Wattpad?
Yes.
That's good. Yes. So
It's a great platform.
Thank you. So today, Keynote will be really intertwining a lot of the stories, the founding stories of Wattpad. So, yeah. all of our hard journeys, our smart moves, all in here.
Studied engineering.
Yeah, so I'm an engineer by training, and I have been in the industry for 30 years now. So I've done software, I've done hardware, so I know semiconductor quite well. .com days, I work with tech accelerators to basically nurture their startups, and then did my MBA. And most interesting certainly was to help Alan to build Wattpad.
So did you know you wanted to start more in the direction of an investor, or
No,
it really just
no,
happened?
it just happened. So for me, I think people know enough of me; they would know that, I get bored, and
Can't be on one project.
yeah,
Gotta be on-
I just need to have that adrenaline of solving big problems, of kind of like achieving what I need set out to achieve, and then I'll be like, okay, I'm done. Let's look for something else. And I think right now being a VC allows me to have that in even bigger multiples, right? Because when I was building Wattpad, certainly heart, sweat, everything was in it. Until I personally achieve certain scale, then I'm like, okay, I'm done here, Alan. You continue on. You can take care of it. And then now being VC, I help my portfolio companies more, and actually, I love interacting with crowds like this to share our experience, because I believe that more sharing will have more wins for everyone. So that's just my commitment.
And does
I am today have got
seed or
Yeah,
later?
we do pre-seed seed, and we are 30 million US fund, relatively small, but we actually co-invest with a lot of tier 1 firms like Kleiner Perkins, A16Z, Union Square. Those are our.
Do you find that like early?
I wore thermals today.
You're able to.
Oh, for me personally, yes.
So you like.
I
you
love
like
that stage. I love that stage
Yeah.
because there may be a lot of VCs out there who can provide guidance for 1 to 10, 5 to 50. Not a lot of people can do 0 to 1. Me, I am the 0 to 1 expert.
That's where your adrenaline.
That's where my adrenaline is.
Got
Yes. So I can't wait to share. To actually just because I was at the tail end of the presentation and I just heard a few pitches. I know that I need to customize it right now to make sure the crowd is more engaged. Because when I was hearing, I'm like, he needs to know about this. He needs to know about this too.
Some pretty cool.
Yeah, for sure.
Just the moist.
Have you seen?
I honestly might do that something.
For sure.
Yeah.
I don't think I've gotten used to
now. Like more like AI? Or
I have always been investing in AI because Wattpad is actually an AI-powered entertainment platform since 2012.
It was like.
It has all. Yeah, it was. We were one of the, especially in Canada, I would say, one of the earliest adopter in AI in a production platform. And Brandon, who was the founding data scientist, right now he's at Two Small Fish with me. So we have been investing in Gen AI since 2022. And we actually know the team at OpenAI since 2018 because Wattpad was introduced to them through a common investor. So Vinod Khosla invested in OpenAI, who invested at Wattpad. At the time, Wattpad was creating our very own version of the LLMs. Certainly not the mass market one, because we built it mainly for internal use, and so we know the AI space quite well. So that's why I'm excited, because I see a lot of I see a lot of guys here in this room, and I presume many of them had never been onto Wattpad. But then I can totally find.
Should we ask? Raise your hand.
I don't think they will raise their hand. That's the problem,
No, probably not.
Probably not. They may be, but they didn't want to tell the world. I've seen too many of them.
And you're a generalist VC firm?
I would say that we are agnostic, but we are more deep tech. So when we look at AI companies, we look at whether they are building foundational models or they are creating a layer on top of that.
Like rappers?
Yeah, more than that. So you would know, and
All right.
it will be fun.
Can't wait.
I'll just wait a couple minutes and then let's get started. Huh? Yeah.
Projector's a little old.
That's okay. It will come up eventually. We just have to give it an ounce of patience. Is it up? No. I saw it up at the back.
It is very, very small.
All right. Okay, let me just try the clicker. All right. Okay. How's everyone? Excited? So can I have a show of hands who are founders in this room? All right. This is the crowd that I love engaging with. So let me introduce myself first for those of you who don't know me. Eva Lao from Toronto, co-founder and general partner of Two Small Fish Ventures. I invest in early-stage tech startups, transformative technology companies at the pre-seed and seed stage. Before I become a VC, I helped my husband to build one of the most successful internet companies in the world. I see a lot of guys here, they will be like, I've never heard of it. Well, that's okay. Go ask your girlfriends, go ask your sisters, your cousins. I bet you money they would know about us. Because 1 in 3 girls in the US have been on our platform. So we built Wattpad.
Yeah.
Yay! The largest storytelling platform and AI-powered entertainment powerhouse. Today presentation, it's my many years of sweats and tears and blood that we have put together as a summary, in a framework. So as I go through this framework, you'll be hearing a lot of stories, wall scars, stupid mistakes that we have made at Wattpad. If you still don't know what Wattpad is, a very quick summary. We have over 100 million monthly users. 4 to 5 million of them are writers, sharing 1 million of fictional stories every day. So you can imagine how many words that we come across on a minute basis. Collectively, I think our reading times on the platform is about 3 billion minutes per month. The company was sold in 2021 to Naver, the tech giant in South Korea, for over $660 million. So I think I know a thing or two about building and scaling companies from zero. And today, I remember one company who's the Gamut team. You talk about marketing? We spent $0 for the first 10 years and organically grow the platform from tens of thousands to tens of millions. Don't spend a dime in marketing until you figure out that product market fit. Investors don't need to put money in Facebook ads. Investors need to put money in a platform that users really love. Okay, so let's get started. Do I have an hour? Just want a time check? Yes. Perfect. All right, so about me. I wore many hats in my life. Some of them would be like, what? What kind of hat? I wore an engineering hat. I'm an engineering graduate from U of T Engineering, University of Toronto, not Texas. And I also have an MBA at Shirley School of Business in Toronto. And during the dot-com days, I worked in a tech accelerator called Bright Spark. So my job at the time was to function in whatever roles they need me to be, business development, VP engineering, program manager, you name it, to help those startups in the ecosystem to find product market fit. And that suit that I was wearing, not really me, that was not me wearing it. Can anybody know what that suit, where you can find someone wearing that kind of suits?
A chip factory?
Yes. So I work in a semiconductor company. Back then, it's called ATI. I think nobody would know because later, by the time you were born, it got acquired by AMD. But the product that I was working on at the time as the program manager, my product line was fighting with another product line from a startup out from the valley. That tiny startup was called NVIDIA. So again, I know a few things about semicon as well. So I obviously wore the Wattpad hat. Cost me a lot of tears and sweat. Me and Alan, when we were building Wattpad, him and his co-founder, during the first few years, we had zero traffic. Zero. Okay? So one day when we got a check from Google AdSense saying, oh yeah, here's your revenue. Guess how much it was on it? Anybody want to go out guess? Huh? A cent. Better than that. Come on. Guess how much? Someone shout. Come on, this is a very interactive thing. I cannot talk like in a monologue. $50. $50. It was $2. So by the time we finished that coffee, we're back to square one. So we almost had to sell our house to basically fund Wattpad. So many, many war scars in this presentation. I really hope that you will take away a thing or two from this presentation. And now I wear my very blingy cap as a VC. Why blingy baseball cap? For those women engineers in the room or women in STEM in the room, we can be pretty and smart at the same time. Okay? So today, I really want to talk to you about network effects, particularly in the Gen AI era. Can anybody tell me what is network effects? If you don't raise your hand, I'm just going to point. What is network effects? You.
It's expansion of your customer base through organic word-of-mouth referrals, creating a network where you hit critical mass.
Someone say it that way. Anybody say, no, that's not really precise. You want to give it a try?
Basically, when everyone around you is using your product, you end up using their product too.
Everybody's using it, so you may as well use it. Well, Coca-Cola is that, but it's certainly not network effect. Anybody want to give it another attempt?
Businesses that are formed around one entity like OpenAI or a network.
So you're talking about only open source companies are network effect.
So the value of anything increases as more and more people start using it.
Thank you. The platform will show network effects as more usage. I don't want to say users. As more usage happen on the platform itself will become exponentially more valuable. That's what network effect is all about. So you will not recognize these maps, but I'll tell you what it is. That's one, it's the subway map of our pathetic Toronto. 2 stupid subway lines. This is the stingiest network that you can find. Imagine if you have 2 train stations. Will there be a lot of users? It's only point A to point B. So that's why it's pathetic for the Toronto subway map, because it's no more than what, 30 stops? That's it. Over here, it's a subway map of Tokyo. This is a real network. And you want to build this. The more and more nodes you have in a network, the more and more valuable it becomes. So you'll be asking, what are nodes? What are nodes in your particular network? Because if you're looking at the subway map, of course, node is a station. But what exactly is the node in your own network? I've heard a few pitch at, towards the end, so I'll be calling people based on the Gamut people and the EV people. And there were a couple of others that I also look at the brief, and I'll be calling them on. So typically, network effects shows up in marketplaces, in social networks, machine learning algorithms. If you're doing AI, using AI, you already have network effects. So don't overlook it. I already hear some teams, and I'm like, oh, come on. Don't make it just like a tool. You can potentially be sitting on a gold mine of a data network that you're actually building. You may not even realize it. So today, I'm going to tell you so that you know you're sitting on a gold mine. The key characteristics of network effects usually is winner take all. Usually. And you have a very highly engaged product. Most importantly, you will be able to birth many business models out from it. I've heard the team say, I'm not business people, I don't know what it is. I'm hoping that throughout this, you'll figure that out. Okay, this is the framework called ASSET, network effect equal ASSET, and this is the version 2.0. I built this network effect framework since 2016. It has been widely used in a lot of the tech accelerators in Canada, and I'm very glad that I have the opportunity to bring it down here to an international audience. By the way, where's the Singaporean team? My husband is actually right now in Singapore, and he was speaking to the folks in A-Star.
Oh.
So they would know what I'm talking about. So ASSET, A-S-S-E-T, it's just an acronym. Every single letter represents something. So this one, it's not that something I've dreamt of and kind of put it together. It's in hindsight what we have done at Wattpad. And then I collectively use this framework with my portfolio companies. By the way, I have, 50 portfolio companies right now under my belt. And, look at how they have struggled, how they have grown to create this framework. And I've updated this one specifically for the Gen AI era, because this is the most important technology inflection point that you will ever experience in this decade. So what is atomic unit? Atomic unit are basically the nodes that I just talked about. The train station, the atomic unit is a station because everybody congregate around stations. They don't congregate around a vending machine, yeah, but the vending machine has to be in a station, right? Otherwise, then it's a network of vending machines, right? So atomic unit, the way that I define it, is the smallest product unit that your users will congregate around. I'll give you a couple of examples. On YouTube, people congregate around videos. What you like will be very different, but you and your gang will be congregating around one video, and you will and your gang, right? So the more videos, meaning the more nodes on YouTube, the bigger network it is. Some of the nodes will have millions of people like Taylor Swift, but some of the home video, like me and my daughter, giggling, may only have 2 people, because that's just my husband and my mom. But that's okay. You still have a network of all these nodes. So on Wattpad, people congregate around stories. You cannot just say people congregate around comments. Comment about what? The weather is nice? The comment has to associate with something to birth out from. And that's still a story. So that's what atomic unit is all about. Now, I want to kind of take this opportunity to not only just think about Wattpad and all these examples that I have, I need you to think about in your own context. You can see that Eva is a very interactive speaker here. I don't like monologue. I need you to raise your hand if you say, hold on, I am doing this. What do you think, my situation is? I need it to be this interactive because that's how the team here can collectively learn. Otherwise, it would just be a monologue. Okay? So understand the concept of atomic unit? Let's do a couple of tests. What's the atomic unit on Facebook? Thank you. What's the atomic unit on formerly Twitter, now X? Tweet. What's the atomic unit on DoorDash?
Order.
An order. Good. Why an order, not a restaurant or a driver?
Question. I think in the end, it all revolves around the order.
Thank you. So DoorDash is a multi-sided marketplace. You need to have restaurant, you need to have a customer, and you need to have a driver. Without any of these, the atomic unit will not form. So that's extremely important. You understand the characteristics of an atomic unit. Now, I know that today I have a lot of people who build data networks. So I need you to kind of now think a little bit more interestingly. What's the atomic unit on Google search engine?
Search.
You said a search. We'll park that.
Search page.
A search page. So what is exactly that? A search or a page? Which one? A page. The hierarchy of the searches. We're getting closer. You want to give it a shot?
Page rank.
Page rank. How does page rank works?
Okay, I don't know how Google did it exactly right now, but just check the amount of users on a page, like going into a page and distribution of users, and then.
Okay, so you're talking about users clicking on that. Okay, interesting. A link.
In the PageRank network.
Okay. The link in the page link network. You're getting closer. Very close, but still not there.
A click.
A click. So obviously this crowd was born after Google was built. The very, very original algorithm of a Google search, it's absolutely the page rank algorithm. But you ask, how does it work? In the very early days of Google, they looked at each page link and try to understand the popularity of it. Who referenced to it? Let's say, there's a news, which other news network also linked to it? The quality of it, because if this link has been kind of like linked by web pages that have only one people, then they know that they're faking this link as being popular. So basically, they are looking for references of a link. So the atomic unit is link reference. They need a ton of link reference in order to train their own algorithm to make that prediction. That's the network of link reference. So I hope you, using the Google example, you understand that network effect is not about just Uber having a large network of cab drivers. It's not about DoorDash as a network of drivers or whatever. If you're building AI products or a lot of the B2B SaaS product, you're literally sitting on the data network. So in this context, you have to be very careful, and I really hope that you ask me questions along the way because it's slightly different. So once you define the atomic unit in your product, it's not me who defined it. It's you who defined it. You need to think about a few things. Who wants it? Who will actually be making it? And why do they care? So now, I was expecting this crowd to be a little bit more, kind of like social. I don't know, judging the guys in the room here. Who is on Be Real? Okay. Who had been on Snapchat? Okay. Who are on Instagram? Thank you. What would you say the atomic unit for all these platforms are? The girl at the back. Just yell me one.
Post.
A post? A post on any of these? Okay. Someone want to elaborate a little bit more?
Like a picture?
A picture.
Also, there's like a hole in the ground right there, and I want to make sure you don't...
Oh, don't worry. If I trip, you just have to laugh. Okay? And then I'll be laughing with you as well. Thank you for reminding me. Okay. A picture. A picture. But these pictures are all different. You can argue that the Be Real network, they want to have as many pictures as possible, the number of nodes. Same as Snapchat. They want to have the largest network of all these snap, which is also a picture. But then Instagram, well, now that it's a super app, by the way, did you know that they have this flip feature today? That they're allowing you to be kind of like posting like a Be Real? Maybe I'm on beta, because today I saw that button, I clicked on it, and I'm like, Mark Zuckerberg, you're trying to be like Be Real again. So, Instagram is also asking me for a picture back in the days. So all these are like, they are building a network of pictures. What's the difference? What's the difference? Anybody tell me what's the difference between these platforms? Why the picture is still a picture, but they have totally different user behavior?
Networks for different types of users. Like Snapchat is for 1:1 friends. Like we send
into friends and like Instagram is for more public-oriented posts. The longevity of the post.
The longevity of the post? Any more attempt?
Brand positioning of the social media network. Who they're trying to appeal to.
Who they're trying to appeal to? The user demographics? I need to see new hands.
Like the curation level of the post. Like Instagram, you want like the best photo where it's big.
Okay.
Like the audience of each.
The audience. Okay.
Snapchat is one-to-one. Instagram is one-to-many.
You sure Snapchat is one-to-one?
No.
But okay.
Also the interface, right? Like how you interact with.
I love the word interface. So the way you define an atomic unit, you need to understand the user behavior that you really want. For Be Real, they position themselves as be yourself at that moment in time. Oops, shit, it's like 2:30. I have to take a Be Real right now. Whether you were like in the bathroom or you were like, you know, kind of eating your sandwich, you still have to do that. And they make it in such a way that they use the two cameras. That's the uniqueness of their interface. By doing a different interface, they drive different behavior to create very unique atomic units. And you talk about the longevity. Someone talked about the longevity and about the one-to-one. Yes, you were actually right, because Snapchat, when it started, it was one-to-one. It's like I sending you a picture, disappear within, you know, the moment you open it. So they create that interface to drive different user behavior, even though it's the same picture, but the characteristics of the atomic unit is so different. Same thing for Instagram. Right now, Instagram is a mega app, but back in the days, it's just filters. All they care is about take a stupid picture, we'll make it look like Paris. That's all. So different interface drive different user behavior, even though they seems to be the same. So I already asked you about this question about Google. So we can just skip the slide. As I said, I try to kind of make it very interactive for you guys. So now, there were teams actually doing some pharmaceutical genetics type kind of like products in the pitch, right? Am I right?
I was pharmaceuticals, there was another team on Zoom who were doing genetics.
Tell me, what's the atomic unit then for cancer detection type of technology companies?
Images of cancer?
Images of cancer? Okay.
Reports?
The report. Where does the report come from?
Place you get tested? I don't know.
So you still have to have the genesis of that report, which is data on a patient, primarily looking at the cancer images.
The tumor?
The tumor. Or maybe we can go a little bit more further, is the suspected tumor. Because you don't know if it is, right? So what that is, we are looking at for any of these kind of AI-powered products, it is still the data. The fundamental smallest piece of data is your atomic unit. Some people will be focusing on, oh, the doctors can forward it to this, or the doctor can highlight this. Those are just features. The network that you should continue to push the envelope to think strongly, it's how do you become the biggest network of data on the subject matter that you're dealing with. So someone say the cancer images, I invested in a company, they do ultrasound images of a tumor. So for them, they need to have the device to embed the algorithm on it and get it to the hands of the doctors so that the doctors can say, oh yeah, it looks like it's a tumor. How many steps needs to happen before you capture one data point? But that's the whole idea. You have to go through all those hoops, jump through all those hoops to make sure you build the largest network of those data. Without it, another company can do a much better prediction. Easier to use. The doctor just turn it on and they just have it, rather than doing 500 million steps. Easier to adopt versus more difficult to adopt. It impacts how you create that network. So it's very important you need to understand what are you really building, not how much are you charging your customer. If you charge them $1 million, guess what? To get one data point, it's like climbing the Himalaya because there's so much friction to get them to give you that one data point. If you're building a tool and try to sell them like hotcakes, meaning that, oh, some doofus want to pay me $1 billion for it, then hopefully we'll have 3, then we'll be okay. That's a different business model. When someone actually kind of like create a very easily adoptable product, very little friction, they will be able to get to that ginormous network of data much faster than you. The prediction will be better. And most importantly, the adoption, winner take all, you remember, will happen much faster for those companies. So focus on the data network effect that you're really building. We already touched on this. Different atomic units drive different user behavior. Okay? So essentially, we are really building a network of atomic units. So you have to keep that in mind. What is my atomic unit in my platform? And how do I grow that network of atomic units? Any questions so far? No? Good. Smart cookies. Yes?
Know if like the atomic unit that you're building, it's the one that you're going to achieve you the highest growth?
I love that question. How do you know this will work? Now we're getting into the next 2 steps. It will hopefully give you a lot of clarity. The reason I said that is because a lot of the startups, they come to me, not only at the student level, I'm talking about serial entrepreneur. They came to me and said, Eva, I said, go back, think about your atomic unit, come back, and then we have a discussion. They came back and they say, okay, this is me. And then I just asked a few questions, who supply it, who demand it. Very quickly, he said, or she said, oh, I picked the wrong atomic unit because that's not what I want. So very quickly, you will know. So once you define the atomic unit, asking the same right question, is this the right one? Before you build another line of code, now that you have this toolkit in your bag, use this, don't code, use this first, okay? You have to think about who will give you those atomic units voluntarily or seed the supply of those atomic units the easiest way. So now I'm going to tell you the horrible story of the genesis of Wattpad. Alan started the company in 2006, pre-iPhone, pre-Kindle. Nobody knew what e-reading was all about. For us to tell people that they can read and write on a mobile phone, it's like pulling teeth. Even myself included, when Alan told me that he wanted to start this company, he showed me the prototype on this flip phone, you know, the phone that your parents play with. And I looked at him, I'm like, this is the stupidest idea. Like, why would people read on this? And I was so right on because, you know, the first few years, there was literally no traffic, right? Because the form factor wasn't there. And people didn't know what it is. So we have to seed the supply of the platform. Because initially people were uploading jokes, some people uploading textbook, maybe they want to cheat on the exams. Someone put a CPR manual there, must be a nurse trying to kind of save a life. Okay? So we have to seed the supply of stories. It was so hard. We have to ask the Project Gutenberg, which is a public domain project, for their public stories. Pride and Prejudice, Jane Austen, Moby Dick. We import 20,000 of those stories on our platform just to tell people, this website, this app is for reading stories. It was so hard. But now in the Gen AI era, it is so much easier. If we have to build Wattpad right now, I can go to OpenAI using their libraries or maybe the less expensive ones and generate 10,000 stories. Whether they're good or not, I don't know. But if I need to generate those stories, very easy. Same thing for those people who are building data networks. I backed a company called BenchSci back in 2015. They built the NLP engine to understand medical journal, to categorize protein data. Protein data was the atomic unit. they had to put so much effort to build that NLP engine and be able to categorize those protein data. It took them a few years to get there. The first few years, no one was funding them because they couldn't, get the business model working and all those things. And by the way, this company is a really good one in my portfolio because they helped the development of the COVID vaccine. During COVID, AstraZeneca, Janssen, Moderna, they were all on the platform trying to kind of get those protein data to develop our vaccine. But long story short, if they were to do it today, getting the LLM these days to kind of comb through all those medical journals, it's a one step ginormously, better than how they were doing it before. So you are now in the era with the LLMs in your pockets. You can actually take giant leaps than the previous founders. If you understand how to use Gen AI to create the initial set of atomic units, it will be so easy. Now, I'm just going to pause here for a bit because I want to answer, direct your question. Now that you have defined your atomic unit, you have to understand who's going to give it to you. If it's like your bank account balance, going to a consumer will be very hard because why would I trust a new app to give you my bank account balance unless there's some utility to it? Connect me with your bank account, I will be able to project your retirement needs. Then you have some utility that people are willing to give to you. If you think that's not the way to go, then maybe you know what? Your product should be a B2B product to get integrated with the banks. With one contract, millions of bank account balance go right to you. That's what I said. Don't code anything until you figure this out. Just mentally walk through a few steps. You will have the answers yourself. Who the hell is going to give me those things? That's why YouTube, when they first started, it was all about just upload your stupid home video, like the American Funniest Home Video. It was very low quality, but it provided utility for users to share videos with the families without emailing it back and forth. Videos are big by definition. Who the hell is going to email like a 400 meg type video? But you put it up there, make it private, utility. So you look at utility before you look at marketing. If there's no utility, no point to do marketing. Because you're not really solving a problem for the users. If it's nice to have, why do they care? So it's very important that you understand user intrinsic need. Why do people want to come on Wattpad? Can somebody tell me? Take a guess. Why do people want to come on Wattpad? For those Wattpadders in the room? To be entertained. There are lots of other places to be entertained, but you're right on. More specifically, in the context of storytelling, why do they come on Wattpad to read stories? They want original, good stories. Okay? They want stories that they cannot be found. And most importantly, it's free. It serves the utility of, I have no money to buy new books, I'm bored. This is an app that allows me to read 100,000 stories for free. That's the genesis of Wattpad. Now, once you define, you know how to kind of get the people to give you those atomic units. So we we imported the 20,000 story from Gutenberg, but it still took us a few years to have a 15-year-old girl in UK wrote her very first romance story around vampires. Yes, that was back in 2009. So you have to excuse that. It's the Twilight Saga at the time. Okay? So when they start writing stories, another user said, I can actually write my love story between myself and Justin Bieber. Yes, that happened. And then we all of a sudden have a lot of people sharing all these stories that are original, may not necessarily be very good, but at least they're original and they relate to the users. So once you kind of get to the hang of okay, people want to tell their own stories because no one is going to publish her love stories with Justin Bieber, but she wants to tell the world. There's a platform, there's the utility. They will supply it to you. Now, once you figure out the supply, you need to kind of get into motion, who wants it? Who demands those things? So you got the restaurants on DoorDash, you got the drivers ready, but no one wants to eat quasi warm, God knows how long has been in the bike type kind of a food. It will still not happen, right? But obviously there are people who don't care about that. They just don't want to cook. So then DoorDash take off. You have to figure out why those people want it and scale the demand over there. So what we did at Wattpad, we took the opportunity to leverage the mobile trend. Everybody got this shiny iPhone. They want to read. Then we make our app available for all mobile devices. From feature phones, Android phone, back in the days, BlackBerry phones, Windows phones, iPhone, you name it. We were the #1 app, reading app on all platforms. We leverage on the social because all the people actually want interaction. That was the era when Facebook was out. So then people like to kind of comment on each other. That's what happened. That's how we grow it. Now in a Gen AI era, they're gonna supercharge the demand side. So imagine for any network, if there's only one type of people who supply and one type of people who demands it, it is not as good as those one who can actually do both. If you can only read on Facebook and you cannot post on it, what's the fun of it? You cannot poke fun of other people now. You cannot spill out garbage about what you ate last night, right? So if you can only listen on Spotify for those curated playlists and cannot create your own playlist, what's the fun of it? So for any network, the most powerful one is they can generate that atomic unit, they can consume it, and they can generate more. For those data, medical devices, you can scan a tumor, but you can also capture the user who said, I don't know, I think something is over here. He was in demand of your algorithm, but using your product, it actually gives you back a new atomic unit in your own network. That's how you build network effects. People consume it, they can also contribute back. So right now with Gen AI, it's going much faster, much faster. In the old days when we start Wattpad, you read 10 stories, you still have no courage to write your own because you just don't know where to start. But with Gen AI, with a few prompts, you'll be able to kind of like, oh yeah, character. Not Justin Bieber anymore. Who's hip these days?
Zendaya.
Of course, coming out from a guy. Yes, Zendaya. Yeah, character Zendaya, right? Then you can very quickly start writing a love stories or maybe a love-hate relationship with Zendaya. Okay, just with a few clicks. It will give you prompt, it will give you ideas. So same thing. Right now, if you want, let's say, a doctor to annotate on a tumor, data point that you've just got, in the old days, it may take you a lot of time to create tools to annotate on it, to provide information on it. But guess what? I know chat interface is not the best use of LLM. I agree 100%. But hey, now with this chat interface with the LLMs, the doctor can say, no, I think this is that. Da, 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 da. By capturing their conversation, they can generate another data point more precisely, more quickly, right back into the network. That's the power of network effect. Particularly with Gen AI, you can supercharge those people who wanted them and then turn them around and become a supplier of your network. That's the most important dynamics in any networks. Running out of time, so I'm going to go very quick. Oh no, we start at 10 past, so I have 20 minutes. Good. Phew. Okay, we got the A covered, atomic unit. The first S, the first S of the S, is supersede the supply. The next one is supercharge the demand. Now we are on to the E in the asset model. We can exponential the engagement. So before I get into that, I've already given you all the tips here. I assume we're in a neuroscience building, founders building very high-tech stuff. Can someone just very, like, close eyes in your sleep, tell me how to calculate the volume of a cube? Oh, come on. I need new hands. For those people who are afraid to raise their hands, this is the simplest question. Yes?
The edge length.
Yeah. If it is a rectangular one, then it will be the product of the 3 edge. So I defined engagement in 3 dimensions: number of users, the frequency of the usage, and the number of connections that you have. So on Uber, you don't connect to one drivers, do you? You have hundreds of them that you can connect with. Same thing on Spotify. You have hundreds and hundreds of playlists that you can listen to. That's the number of connections. So tell me one type of business that will only grow and only grow in that dimension based on number of users, which will end up having a line. What type of business will only grow and only in that dimension by number of users? Huh? Reddit. You can only read one post and you can never go back again. So that's not it.
Any consumable goods?
Any consumable goods? Yeah. But you can still have Coca-Cola tomorrow.
Like one-off licensing agreements for B2B.
Licensing agreement. Well, but then that licensing agreement on that one it's one-off. But then next year you can still renew. Come on, guys. This is...
Subscription-based companies?
Seriously? I'm talking to the smartest room here. What product one person will only use it once ever in their life? Thank you! The casket company can only grow by how many dead people they have. Will they have repeat customer? Can they connect with many other caskets? So don't build a casket business unless you really want to get in there. Right? So now tell me what products or companies that you have 2 dimensions, meaning that you can grow by the number of users or you can also grow by the frequency of how they can come, how often they use it. What kind of business will that look like? 2 dimension.
Anything that's FMCG, like any consumable good product.
Yeah. Basically any kind of mom and pop shop. You can have a pizza joint at 5th and 14th, and only one. Then you have many people lined up. They come back over and over again. 2 dimensions. Until I become a franchise. Then you have a network. Then all of a sudden, not only do you serve the users at 5th and 14th, you now can have some in Brooklyn, Williamsburg, Central Park. I'm a Torontonian, so I'm trying to kind of like speak your language here, East Village. Right? Then you will have many connections. I was in Williamsburg, so I can have this over here. Now that I'm in East Village, it's still my favorite pizza, so I can have it here as well. So the number of connections goes up. So make sure when you build engagement, now, this is a very important point. Before you think about engagement, you have to make sure that the flywheel is happening for the supply and the demand. If Uber Eats, first started off to say, we can deliver everything, people would be like, okay, like what? Do I order food or do I go buy things from Staples or do I get someone to deliver? Like they will be so confused. So get the flywheel running, that drivers really want to drive for Uber, restaurant really want to kind of like do it for Uber before you go into something else. So Uber, when it first started, it was just Uber X, like, the Uber Black. It was the taxi company. It was until much later on when they see the birth of DoorDash and all those that's when they start doing all the other food delivery. Because they were very good and have the largest drivers network, then they grow into another business. So now, engagement, one lesson I've learned, not all engagement on the platform are good. I pay a price for it. So I gotta share my wall scars with you. Back in 2010, 2011, when basically Facebook started to have this iMessenger, saying they have a green dot. Oh, you're online, and then you can say, "Hey, I need to have a coffee with you." You remember that era? Maybe not. You're too young, but that's okay. So that's what happened. It's like all the very die-hard Wattpad users all send us messages and say, "I need to have the instant chat feature on Wattpad as well. I made so many great friends. We all love vampires, so I love kind of like talking to them when I'm out of school." So they wanted that feature so badly. So being the head of community and content, worked very closely with the product team. Of course, I took that feedback to heart and went to the other co-founder, Ivan, and say, "Ivan, we must have it. We must have it. Because everybody, all the social media company has it. We must have it. Users wants it. It increases engagement. People will come back to our platform so much more often now because they can do more." Ivan said, "I don't have time. We're only a team of 12. I don't have time. I don't have time." And I'm like, no. Guess who won the war? Of course I did. In a quasi way. He put a very quick plugin on the website and say, I have no time to do it on the mobile. Let's just kind of like test it out on the web. Very quickly, I regretted. Guess why? Isn't engagement great? There's a feature for them to do more things on a platform. There are more reasons to come on Wattpad. Why did I regret it?
They get distracted from the main atomic units of Wattpad stuff.
Exactly. They no longer contribute to the atomic units that I desperately want to build. They came on to talk about, what's your favorite color? Who cares? So don't get distracted by engagement and think, oh, no one knows about my product. Maybe it's not enough engagement. I got to put more features in. When you are strapped with resources, unlike Facebook or Meta, there's another story about Meta, but I'll tell you about that afterwards. For those of you who remember, ask me afterwards. The name Meta is my friend's company, but I'll tell you why. So anyway, unless you're like Meta, if you don't have that much money to have like teams to kind of like try out features, build it, roll it out, don't. Especially when the flywheel, it's not running in your app, in your product. Users are not creating those atomic units in an organic and quick way. Don't think about engagement because they may not contribute to what you really want. So in the era of Gen AI, engagement can really go exponential. Because before Gen AI come, AI already, it's been in the industry for a long time. By the way, we have been using AI since 2012 at Wattpad, but I'm going to go back to that. The Gen AI era changed how humans interact with computer programs. You'll be like, what does that mean? Before Gen AI, we always have to what? Click a button, choose from a drop box, type in an instruction, give them a specific piece of data. Human-computer interface for the many last decades has always been instruction-based. You tell the computer what to do. What if you don't know how to tell the computer what to do? Then the engagement by definition will be low. But now, with Gen AI, human collaborates on your platform much more easier and much more quicker. So think about the engagement that I want to kind of like, I love this story so much. I want to kind of create a fan art for my favorite writer and say, look, the scene that you have written about they are kissing, with the tools, let's assume there's a tool, to quickly generate a picture of the character kissing, that can be done like that. So if Wattpad really wants to kind of create that engagement and collect those data, Wattpad doesn't have to have a team that makes Canva. They can basically call out a few, instructions to the large language models out there and be very quickly to create these engagement a lot easier. So think about using Gen AI to exponential your engagement on the platform. Now, the last step, ASSE, the T part, is transform your business. When I kept saying Wattpad is an AI-powered entertainment house, because when we win in the mobile war, when we win in the user space, we were not complacent. We were thinking, what if there's another company who can actually attract people to write stories, who can also kind of like get people to, read on mobile, then what's the edge? What's the edge? Every single company should think about how do they continue to transform the company. The day you start in day one, 10 years later, they should look very different. If it is the same company, that means that you are not progressing. So how did Wattpad transform the business? As I said, back in 2012, that's when we start using machine learning in a product. Simple things like recommendation. You read the stories, find similar stories based on that. Or you know what, we want this well-woofed homepage to kind of look a little bit more, nicer rather than just guys half naked, showing their muscles as well-woofed before they shift, if you know what I mean. So simple algorithm is like feed them with the right book covers so that they can come up with the ones that kind of like more appealing to a wider audience. Those are simple things that we have done at Wattpad to scale. But what else can we do? You remember what I said? 1 million new chapters every day. Some popular stories, when they get uploaded, within 1 hour, guess how many comments were generated? Take a guess. One story, like one new chapter, 1 hour.
1,000.
10,000? 10,000 going once, 10,000 going twice. 1,000 going one, 1,000 going twice.
50,000.
100,000. Then you can see the insights that we have. We can even know which line people engage with the most. That's when machine learning comes into full throttle, because now we know which story is up and rising. So that's how Wattpad turned into an entertainment powerhouse. We start making movies, publishing books, making TV shows. We have many New York Times bestseller born from us, many Netflix winning titles, blockbusters in some of the local communities. Singapore, what's the platform that you guys do the streaming? Some on movie, like MediaCorp streaming platform?
Me watch.
Shows from there. Anybody from the Philippines? Wattpad present, prime time, every day. It was originally at 7 o'clock. People complain, call up TV5 and say, you cannot do it at 7 o'clock because I'm on way back from work. You have to do it at 9 o'clock. And they shifted from 7 to 9. How can we do it? We can even mix the script, the movie scripts, to really coincide with what people love. True story. One of the most popular stories on Wattpad, we send it to the kind of like the script team, not by us, from the movie industry. They took the script. We come back, 400 pages, come back with pages, and we were like, what the hell? Where are the most important scenes? Because those people who thought they were professional cut them all out. But we have data to support it. So that's what Insight was all about, transforming the business and going into new horizon. That's why Naver wanted Wattpad so badly. is because the AI technology allowed them to figure out which one is up and rising and let them conquer the media space. So more importantly, with Gen AI, you can transform the new business with new atomic units. Guess what the new atomic unit is at Wattpad? It's the movie script now. They created another network. They created another network that's not just based on text, but it's based on the actual visual, the published books. Those are new atomic units. So same thing, for those people who are doing data. Let's say, the medical cancer technology. You were doing the algorithm based on original, like a ton of, tumor data, But then more and more people start adopting it. Guess what? Your insights on the sun comes out. You have different, you have people from Hong Kong using it. You have people from Singapore using it. You have people in Alaska using it. Then on the sun, you have not only the original set of data, you grow that into a ginormous network of different ethnicity, different demographics, and the richness of your data network will allow you to do totally different things. For example, if there's a pharmaceutical company in China wants to kind of like figure it out if their technology or for this new drug will work with the Asian community, guess where they can find those data? You. That's a new business. You were just selling algorithm for people to kind of do scan. But with the insight, now you have a new business. Not just selling what you are selling, you grow beyond. More and more hospital wants it. Guess why? Because then they can collaborate, they can see insight. That's where the transformation comes. So concluding, make sure you figured out what the atomic unit is. I hope I answered your question by now. Figuring out how do you supersede it with Gen AI. Supercharge your demand. Then think about engagement. And not all engagement are equal. Use Gen AI to exponential it. Because you can quickly turn the demand into a supply with Gen AI. But most importantly, and this is the question I ask every single company comes my way, about a few hundred, close to 1,000 per year. Tell me what you look like in 10 years. And that's what you need to think about. It's how do I transform my company so that what I'm doing right now, 10 years later when I'm on NASDAQ, it will be more than just a tool for doctors to scan patient data. Look at what Google is doing now. Certainly not just a search engine. They have the largest data network of the internet. They can do whatever they want. Thank you. For those of you who want to see the power of Gen AI, every single image on my presentation was created by my portfolio company, Ideogram, a foundational model company that much better than Midjourney, much better than DALL-E, founded by the team at Google Brain. So every single picture, I'm not joking you, I write prompts, it generates to me. That's the power of Gen AI. Thank you. I don't think I have much time, for Q&A. I will stick around for another hour or more. So I'm more than happy to engage with you because I don't want to take the time from the judges. So I'm going to turn it back to Sophia.
Hey guys, let's all give another round of applause to our wonderful keynote speaker. Yay! And so we will come back for the award ceremony in just a few minutes. Can someone tell me the time?
4:11.
4:11. So let's meet back in here at 4:25. 15 minutes to, step outside, use the restroom, whatever you need to do. Then we'll come back in here for the award ceremony. But also, this could be a good chance to talk to our wonderful keynote speaker as well. So 4:25. Thank you.
That was like oh my gosh. Thank you. Thank you. A selfie then?
Thank you. I'll stay off my phone just in case I figure it out before. So just hi guys. Oh my god. I'm really excited for one of you. I mean, it's such an asshole move.
And it's like wink, wink.
Yeah. I haven't got stressed.
I've been chilling watching.
Why not? Shit,
How did we just start known on my caffeine-infused chocolate bar? Caffeine. I did investment kind of like. Oh my god, Sophia, you're gonna die.
How many milligrams are in a cup of coffee?
That's
It's like 80, right?
Oh yeah, you need that's it. Celsius.
Yeah, that's like 3 working. Okay, crazy. Remember I learned that the default amount of shots in like a drink normally is a double shot, and I was like, oh, that's crazy.
In the US, it's a double.
Yeah.
Oh, in the UK, it's a single. I came in a second.
Really?
That's crazy. Yeah.
Double shot of espresso, not alcohol.
Oh, okay. Yeah, single is normal.
No, double. Yeah, like it technically says like 1 shot, but like on the technical terms, it's technically a double.
Yeah. When they use an espresso machine, it has 2.
Oh, yeah.
Outputs for the correct. Oh.
Oh, you guys should speak to her. I would. But I'm not a founder.
I mean, to be honest with you, I didn't one of the judges about this. Yeah.
How you can what we do. I've never heard anyone like teach one of them.
That was really cool. To be honest, when she loads up the model, they're like, this is an adoption module. She breaks it down to like when.
Yeah.
Yeah.
First off, like, go ahead.
Yeah, like
Oh, man.
until like you started
Different last year.
gravity model.
You're wearing
You're wearing shoes. You never wear shoes.
Would always wear slides. I swear to God, he wore slides to finals. I was so pissed. I was like, what are you doing?
Slides and socks.
We were
just
taking
like
photos, and I was like, look presentable. You fucking showed me sweats. God.
Bro, let's get him like.
I love Jackie though.
See, the thing is, this is the thing, right?
If
If you want to kind of like look for paying customer, at the end of the day, would you ever have Instagram? Would you ever have Snapchat? Not with their business model. There you go. So it's not a one size fits all. If it's a B2B product, yes, maybe you should look for paying customer first, because that's one way. I'm not saying the only way to validate there's a real customer demand. Because if people say, oh, it's interesting. Oh, would you pay for it? Oh, no, thank you. Then of course, it invalidates the lack of paying customer. Invalidate.
But essentially, it's supposed to be a temporary.
But if it is a product that needs a lot of user behavioral change, then maybe having users to pay upfront will not be wise. Like if I have to pay to send you a Snapchat, why would I do that? Right? So I don't see this is the problem with a lot of transformational technology companies. The advice that some mentors give to them is like paying customer. You have to give it the right context. It's not a one size fits all. Like you can never have a paying customer that will, that kind of like a bar if you want to build the next Twitter, because people won't pay, right? So I would take that in a grain of salt. You're saying like especially for like platform companies like B2C, your advice I'm asking. Think about this. What's the network of atomic units you want to build? Are people willing to pay to give it to you, or they will only give it to you when it's free? Some people say, you know what, I'm building a bank. Then of course I cannot be free, because people will be like, a bank for free? You must be scamming me. Right, so then they would have to charge, but a reasonable amount, such that the friction of adoption is low enough, but you build trust at the same time. So as I said, it's not one size fits all. You have to think a little bit more about what is the atomic unit, why do people want to give it to me, and why do people want it? And then in that dimension, you then think a little bit more about what is the monetization strategy, what is that? Your question is actually an excellent question I've been asked many times. So I'm actually developing another masterclass specifically on users' need. so that it will hopefully answer far more questions of how do you do user exploration to build that atomic unit strategy. So you have to wait a little bit on that one. Okay?
Yeah.
So let's see if it works. But who wants to, you want to ask me a question? Yes.
Yeah. So we are a robotics company that tries to automate the process of cell culture. Right now,
Self what?
Cell culture.
No. Okay.
So right now, cell culture is like very much new. And I'm being quiet during the talk because we're more like a hardware company. We also
I do actually invest in hardware company. Yes. So I know what things to do. Yeah.
So we use like AI and software to like optimize the operation, but like for like
we get one grumble.
us, we are like our current plan is to deploy the robot in like lab. And would that be like our atomic unit?
Yes, you could be, but then you have to think about what are these robots doing, and can see this is the way that you have to think a little bit then now. Atomic units you can say is a robot. Robot you can say, oh, you know, if they complete a task, then it's good. Then you have to ask yourself, am my robot being positioned as a network of robots or a network of data, or are they like a hotcake business? If someone he created a better robot that is pink, you know, charge less money with more bells and whistles, will your customers say, oh, I hate this blue robot, I want a pink one? And if that's the answer, then you don't have network effects. And then you have to think about what do you need to do to protect your business so that even though there's a pink robot with more bells and whistles, even though it's cheaper, that they're not leaving. So I invested in a company, it's a robotic cleaner.
Worst case scenario.
You can say, yeah, then, you know, if they have a pink robotic cleaner, then they should. But guess what? They're actually building a data network for those enterprises. They will be able to kind of have a dashboard, understanding, you know, where the robots are, which hotel is cleaner than the other one. Then they can say, hey, I pay you all these management fees, you know, to manage the property, but you consistently have the filthiest cleanliness. Like, what's wrong? How's the management? So then all of a sudden, even though they have much better robots than you, but for them to kind of like kick you out, basically churn your customer, it's going to be so hard because your users are staying for the network for the data. So that's neat. That's where you need to think a little bit more about. It's like when someone is doing exactly what I'm doing, cheaper, nicer, will my customer go away? If the answer is yes, then you have to think of a very strong defensibility, which network effects usually will be your answer. But not necessarily at the robotic level. Usually it's at the data level. Okay? Yes. Who wants to go next?
May I?
Yes, of course.
Hi, Eva. So like, we have built a cloud-based operating system. So you know, in regions like even in Princeton, I was like, to see that most of the students, you know, face challenges while running heavy applications in game computers. It's more severe in Southeast Asia. So that's why we've built a web app where you can run every application, no matter on which device you are. You can access pretty much any application or game on that. That's what we have built.
Okay.
It is very different from a normal virtual machine.
Yeah.
Because every application is running independently as a microservice, so it's very resource efficient and cost effective.
Okay.
For both the parties.
Okay. Okay.
That's what we have built.
All right.
And when I that like atomic
unit
thing, so I was thinking that anybody else could also, you know,
exactly.
build this.
So I've actually seen a few companies who did that. Yes.
Yes.
So they were trying to use the atomic unit as gaming titles. So some actually went into the, you know, the lower tier games. Someone kind of like fight so hard to get the tier 1 games. So they think the atomic unit is a game.
But it's not the case, I believe, because
I would love to hear.
Yes. So I'm trying to build a platform where everything is available. You know, there is some gaming platforms, some virtual machines. One platform where everything is available. So you like pay $100, you do whatever you want to do. Like there's no barrier to it. So the more applications and the like more games we have, that's more convenient. You know, you can play with your friends, you can play with anybody else. You can, you know, collaborate with your startup teammates.
Yeah.
That's the atomic unit that I'm thinking of, and you can share your credits which are not used, which are going to get expired. So the more credits you can share, the more the users are there.
Yeah. So you know what? I would love to kind of like sit down with you to actually understand a little bit more. You know, understand a little bit more context specifically. What is the technique? You know, your tech stack and your architecture.
Definitely.
You know, because I actually invested in edge compute semiconductor as well. Yeah. So I do actually have some. We also look at technology companies that actually shrink LLMs into small. So we do actually quite do a lot of tech to that. It's better to connect me on a one-on-one, like for 30 minutes. For those of you who wants to email me, my email is Eva, EVA, @ and then you spell it all out, two small fish, TWOSMALLFISH.VC.
You have like really good like because
What's it?
you know how people can find your email by doing your first name and then.
Oh, that's even better. But if you do want to connect me on LinkedIn or on email, make sure you set where we met. Heard your masterclass, this is where we met, then it will give me so much better context. Then I'm like, who is this guy? Why did I, so that will be so much easier. You know what, the judges are back. I'm gonna be outside. If you want to continue to talk to me, I'll be out there. I will be here for another 20 minutes. But I know that you have another event here, so I would understand if you are not coming, but it's okay. So I don't want to hold up too much. And I do want, for those of you who actually took pictures, maybe you did, maybe you did not, I would love to see your post on LinkedIn. My Instagram, I'm big on it, is Mrs. Eva Lao, MRS, and then Eva Lao, one word. I'd love to see some tags.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
From TigerLaunch.
Oh, wow,
Thank you so much.
Oh my God. Everyone enjoyed it.
Yeah, no, it was great.
The meta story. So the meta story, because one of my friend, his company or his co-founder company was called Meta. He sold it to Facebook, not to Facebook. He sold it to Chen Zuckerberg Institute back in 2015, 16, and they were a scientific AI company for basically medical journals and stuff like that. And CCI wanted it to, power their own tech stack to advance science. But I guess Mark Zuckerberg likes it enough that he wants to call himself Meta. That's why I like the name. So we keep saying, you sell it for hundreds of $millions just because you have a domain name. He didn't like that joke. Let me grab my stuff. Yes. I don't want to know.
Are you going to New York?
I think I'm also
able
to go to August.
I'm not going to
I'm so tired. I will not be doing any of those things.
I don't use trains ever. I drive.
Are you
I know, but
No, I'm not. Big monster here. I know.
Is it?
But did it come from UK, maybe?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But you know how much it means? British rock, so.
Yeah, but let us educate you.
Yeah?
You've been mistaken.
I'm mistaken.
You've been wrongfully. Yeah.
NMS, not more than one. How do you guys do compression?
There are many good encodings, like there is AV1 encoding, there is VPN.
Yes, but they're like.
You see what I mean? It doesn't even matter. Because the Chrome and stuff is being run from India, so it has latency. But super cool.
You don't get to keep it. You don't get to keep
How are we going to bring it back to the US?
Yeah.
If we were to
We reuse it every day.
just shred it and fill it in a bag and put it in a check.
Last year we did like.
Oh, that's nice. That's close.
Oh, I'm gonna have to need that picture. Princeton sweatshirt.
Honestly, I only did it so we could put Howard Holmes' name on it. And
Yeah.
send a photo.
Oh, did you send him one of the prizes, like an actual wooden one?
Oh, wait.
Or did you just send him a picture?
You found a good one.
Oh,
So
okay.
we don't bond that much. We basically give it a this is what you want.
Bro, why are you exploiting me like I'm not even the kind of person you
Hello.
Really not.
2 minutes to go.
Okay. Walking to the door right now.
Any minute now.
Let a man like that's God forbid someone there.
What about? Bro, nah, I swear, I will like start rebelling. I will start like, hey bro, you won. Show us who you want. Show us who you want. I can see no Inex Tech.
I have no idea.
See it, see it.
Like, what the fuck are you doing?
I want that.
Isn't it? I thought it was totality. President of Tiger. It doesn't no one want to do it. I'm getting the vibe that it's because no one wants to do
We're a bit
it.
mid, we're a bit mid.
I don't want to run for leadership, but I would be
Wait, what?
For 5 hours set on him.
But I feel like it'll take over my life.
like at least it's gonna be like
You should hear you back.
Oh, that's true. 300 different. I'm sure it'll be. I just overcommitted myself.
Like what patient
also like the whole God stuff.
And so I need to put like all one by one. If that makes
I wasn't paying attention to
Don't see anyone.
And just never put
Yeah.
They're like yes or something. Well, no, he's like, first of all, it's like,
How much by low vol?
Running it, and I'm just looking
So
at
the sketchy one, and then the super sketchy one, which is got you down to 50, or we have the less sketchy one. There's gonna be those less sketchy too. When it's 9, they will probably get it done.
So I think I'll just run and figure it out.
Probably not. Probably just not.
Maybe I'll do 4 plus sketchy. Yeah, I think it's like.
I have no idea. I think that's the biggest concern. I'd rather just like the other town. I'd rather just like, and he's also he has 33 points, so he like much better. I mean, it's easier because like the Spanish guy just did more times, so I'm just.
All right, everyone, we're going to go ahead and get started with the award ceremony. Thank you so much for your patience. So first, we want to give another big thank you to our incredible judges who just spent the last hour deliberating on the winners of the competition. So we have a little token of our appreciation here from Jack. But thank you again to our judges. Let's give them one more round of applause. And without further ado, we will announce the winners of the TigerLaunch Global Finals pitch competition.
So we'll go in order. So do you want to start?
I'll start.
You'll
Sure. In third place, drum roll please. Winning $10,000, we have Trinity Tube.
So if we could get a just came out.
All right, Richard.
All right. And in second place, winning $20,000 from TigerLaunch is Toxisense, who I think isn't here. He had to catch a train early. He had to go back. So
A bit anticlimactic,
Yes.
but that's okay.
but,
Check, but just
We'll
we can
edit
Photoshop him
in.
in.
We'll
Yeah,
edit
you'll do that right now.
space between you and then like edit.
Yeah, we'll do that. We'll do that. So Chinmay.
Chinmay?
Okay, there we go. Put your arm around it.
Okay,
That's mine.
Yes. I'll do it. Don't worry.
Okay, wait, sorry. Okay, we gotta do that. I got it. There you go.
He's got that shutter sound.
Very cool. Thank
And without further ado, in first place,
The winner of $30,000.
$30,000 is
The winner of TigerLaunch's Global Finals 2024 is
Gamut Inc. Woo! Congratulations.
Around this way?
Around this way, big check.
Wait, can we also do the Photoshop? No. Oh,
Both of you.
Very cool. Thanks, y'all.
Close with your big check.
Just for fun.
And with that concludes the programming for Tiger Launch's Global Finals 2024. Once again, we want to thank everyone, each individual who's helped us throughout our journey, whether that's our amazing virtual judges, regional judges, our current finals judges, sponsors, etc., and obviously the Tiger Launch team. We're eternally grateful for all the work that you've done and all the help you've provided throughout this this cycle. And obviously as well, thank you to our regional partners who are, one here, Daniel's there, our Berkeley regional partner. They have helped us out immensely throughout this, and our Singapore partner as well. Sorry. But yeah, with that concludes our programming for our finals, and thank you.
And we'd love to get a picture with the judges and also a picture with everyone who competed today, all the finalists. So if we want to start with the judges' picture, that would be lovely. Thank you. And thank you everyone for coming. Yay.
Thank you, Richard. Thank you,
This camera out.
Oh yeah, those are often better.
Congrats.
Hey, thank you so much.
Congratulations.
Hey, likewise.